Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 8 of the Unfinished Basement podcast. This is the show where we talk about things going on in the world, engage with them critically, and offer our general thoughts on these things. We also talk about anything from video games to movies or just generally interesting topics. We're going to start with the Ask Credit section and then move into our discussion of sitcoms, Romeo Lacoste, the New Zealand Massacre, and Brexit, amongst other topics. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, and without further ado, here's the show.
Oh yeah. And a bike stolen.
And we're live, fellas.
Are we?
What's going on?
We're out here, or we're in here,
Yeah.
down in Tumph B, in the Unfinished Basement, in case you're not on that Tumph B flex yet. But it's getting there. We're putting it in people's minds. Tumph B, baby. Am I right or am I right?
You couldn't have said it any better.
Exactly.
I think you're wrong. No, I'm kidding.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Episode 8.
Cheers.
You know, I
Too far.
saw someone on Reddit say, celebrate, Peter, you're across the table.
Yeah, I know.
I heard someone on Reddit say, celebrate any accomplishment, and you know what? This is an accomplishment. Just because we're here today, we recorded a new track in the outro, which if you will listen to the end, you will hear. And if
Yeah.
you don't listen to the end, you won't have the pleasure of hearing it, if I say so myself.
And you know what? Even if you don't, excuse me, I lost my voice over the weekend. But even if you don't make it to the end, do yourself a favor. Just zoom forward, and once you stop listening, and just take a listen, because we put some hard work into it. Very basic stuff, but it took us a while, and we had lots of fun doing it today.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Joe.
Pre-recording session.
Me and Joe did a lot of work.
You know what, you guys...
Spectating it's tough stuff.
you guys
but
were pretty motivating.
It's also on a little snippet of it is on our Instagram.
Yeah.
So you can go and check it out over there at the
Speak
Unfinished Basement
gander.
podcast.
Take a gander. That's all.
You know, it's,
Yeah. So what do you guys have on the table for this week? What do you guys?
well, I got.
have on your
We'll start with some
minds?
questions.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna
yeah.
start
That's
with
right.
Ask
The Ask
Reddit.
Reddit. How could I forget?
I'll go first. Fuck
Sure.
it. What's your favorite comfort food?
I'd have to say it's poutine, probably.
Ooh, that's
Okay.
good.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
Real
like-
Canadian of you.
That is
But
real
honestly,
Canadian.
it's less of smoked poutine and more so when I make it at home using that Longo's prepackaged.
Do you-
Really?
Is it actually good?
Yeah,
But that's
dude,
not
because-
fresh.
No, man, it's as fresh as can be because I like get them curds and shit, man. And it's
Why don't you make your own?
That's the point. Yeah, no, not quite my own with the pulled pork. But man, I just fucking put unlimited cheese on it. That's what makes it so good.
Yeah, but you don't put gravy, right?
Dude, that's how you
No.
get good.
Yeah, dude. How are you?
Is that
not-
even a poutine?
How are you not a gravy guy?
I
Like
mean,
that-
there's literally this pulled pork. There's like, dude, I put feta on it one time. It was pretty nice.
But you won't put gravy.
But I won't put gravy. But you know what, man? I have to say, when I if I go to Harvey's now and I get a poutine, I'll put gravy on it.
Well, yeah, that's a poutine.
It's a Swiss.
Yeah.
Know why? You know why? Because that's Swiss chalet gravy.
You know, Harvey's
Is
has
it?
got some
Yeah,
great
because they're
gravy.
together.
Yeah, but some of the like the one I go to usually isn't
Okay.
isn't attached.
Sometimes they're.
Yeah, you know the
Sometimes
Harvey's on fucking Keelan Rutherford closed down?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
put a
The
fucking
Starbucks.
Starbucks.
Mm.
It's
What
a
the hell
Starbucks
is
now?
that?
It's
a
nice there.
Starbucks.
It's nice though.
Yeah, but it's a bunch of bullshit because that fucking Harvey's. Oh, look who's back. Fuck's sake. Who's down here with you? Come say hi.
Saw, dude.
Say hi to the
Hello.
podcasters.
What's up, podcasters?
Podcast people.
Why are you using my fucking blanket again?
They love
Which
your
blanket,
visits.
man.
Holy.
Okay, you gotta get Rico out of here because he's gonna shit somewhere.
Oh my.
And
Rico's Julian's dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's continue with the question. Peter, what's your
Okay.
favorite comfort food, my friend?
Definitely pizza. 100%.
Pizza?
Yeah, pizza.
Yeah.
Dude,
That's a
it's-
safe take.
a good
Yeah.
a good slice of pizza is always good. Like from a Ricci's.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
fuck with Ricci's.
Yeah, Ricci's is good.
Honestly, that place in the ham wasn't bad either. What's that place called?
Enzo's?
Enzo's.
Yeah,
that
Enzo's
wasn't
me.
bad.
Enzo's.
Shout out Enzo's. We're looking for a sponsor.
Say that again.
What if it's a shet pizza?
You know, if
Hey.
it's a shit pizza, it's still a good.
Hey, when you
pizza.
glue in my eyelashes.
Why?
I don't want to go to my sister
Why?
cause
She's gonna skin you alive
she
if
fucking
you
hurts.
hurt it.
She hurts people.
She does?
No, I'm kidding.
This is some great publicity for your sister right now.
Is it? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, to all fucking.
Wash my blanket, eh?
Yeah, I'll wash
You guys
it.
have vaping in here?
What do you think? Vaping gives contact scent? Maybe, maybe
Yeah.
not. The long-term effects haven't been studied yet.
Nope.
We will find out once we all end up 6 feet under in 10 years.
Yeah, once we're all victim to the
Yep.
to the
Close
harms.
the door and take the dog, please. Thank you.
You didn't yell this time. I'm proud of you.
No, you know what? Fuck it. At this point, might as well incorporate her.
As long as the dog
Yeah.
didn't have a shat.
What is that laugh? Dude, that's sinister.
That is
You
pretty.
don't laugh with you, you fucking little dick.
Oh wow.
She
I'm
sounds
gonna
like
go
us.
wash your dick.
She sounds like us.
Who's your dick?
All right,
Okay.
Joe. What's your favorite comfort food?
Ramen.
Ramen noodles?
Yeah, 100%.
Man, double pork or what?
What do I look like?
Oh, thanks.
An animal?
Okay, but shouts out to Kinton Ramen.
Yeah.
Or
Mm.
Kinton Ramen.
Kenton ramen.
Or yeah, shout out to them. If you're not a bowler, get on that flex. I'm a 3-time bowler. A bowler is basically when you suck back the whole bowl and you clean it. You do the dishwasher a favor. You do yourself a favor.
Mhm.
And yeah, they've got a few locations across the GTA. Hit them up. They're amazing. If you guys want to sponsor this podcast, by all means.
Yeah, we're hoping that they're going to be our first
about you?
our first sponsor. Because
What about me?
Yeah,
My
sorry.
favorite comfort food is nachos dipped in Coke.
no,
I'm
man.
joking. But
Or ketchup.
Anything
No.
with ketchup on it.
anything with ketchup. No, actually, lobster mac and cheese.
Wow.
That's
Oh,
mine.
wow.
That is
You're
mine.
going.
You know what,
You're
man?
going fancy.
Excuse me. Sorry, I had a wicked lobster mac and cheese in Nova Scotia this past summer.
Oh, that'd probably be the
Um,
wickedest.
Dude, we were doing the
Jeez, that'd be
Cabot Trail.
Fresh.
Oh, it was. Oh man, it's as fresh as can be. We were doing the Cabot Trail. We stopped at the most, I guess, what would be the most eastern point of the Cabot Trail. We're right on this big time cliff, looking over the ocean, and they had this cool little restaurant there. We ate outside and everything. It was
Wowee.
pretty dope. Yeah.
You gotta
Cabot Trail's
take me
beautiful.
there. You haven't taken
Yeah,
me
man.
this.
Yeah,
cold.
I
No,
actually
all of
really
us
want to
need
go
to
to
go.
the Scotia.
Yeah, man. I got some hookups. I got some people who can show us a good time in Nova Scotia, and they'll show us the ways of the East Coasters by.
You know what a party?
I love it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh fuck, dude. All they do is party, man. All they do is party. And they play good music at their get-togethers, man. They always have like fucking good
the
music.
fiddle
playing, man.
going.
No, man. I had this little funny interaction with this one guy, and it's common for I guess people who grow up like East Coast, out west, and I guess like I don't want to use the word hardened, but areas where they're more simple, I suppose I could say.
Mhm.
Not in a bad way. I just mean like their lifestyle's different, and they always have like quick wits, you know. Sorry, guys.
They're
fuck.
quick-witted
And,
folks.
yeah, they're quick-witted, and one of them I said to my friend Kaylee, oh, this is pretty fun. You know, you guys are playing good music around your little campfire here.
No
And one of the guys who was playing the music, he goes, "Yeah, bye. This is my phone we got here." And he's like, I can't do the accent well. He's like, my playlist is called "Not What You're Used To." I'm like, holy fuck, that was pretty good, man. It was funny. Like, I wouldn't have thought to say some
Man,
shit like that.
This
you know?
one guy from Nova Scotia, once I cut my ankle on a zebra mussel in a cottage in Muskoka, and my uncle's friend was with us at this cottage, and he was from Nova Scotia, like I just said, and he was a hard motherfucker, I'll tell you that, okay? He was in the Canadian Armed Forces, and yeah, I cut my foot on this zebra mussel, and this man literally comes with some concoction made out of leaves. It was like some paste. He put it on my foot, and he healed my foot,
And it fixed it.
and it fixed my foot, man.
It's like
Wow.
it's like your nana. Have you ever had your nana when you have a cut or something and they get the aloe plant?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
She's
my
never done
nana,
that
my
for me.
nana does
She
that.
usually just pulled me by the ear.
No, dude, they get the aloe plant. They start rubbing it on you in all places. Like this gel comes out. It's like aloe vera.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
my nonna loves
Yeah,
that shit.
dude.
Yeah. My dad actually was growing some aloe vera
Yeah.
plants for a while too.
They're
He
good,
likes
man.
to. He's got a what do they call it? A green thumb. Not as yeah. He's got a green thumb. I guess he likes to grow
From the
shit.
grinder.
Yeah. I'm grinding up all that dope.
All right, next question.
Yeah.
Fire it.
I got one for you guys. It's you were given 24 hours to make people say your first name. Every time that someone new says your name, your bank account goes up by $100. Where do you go?
Where do I go?
Can I say?
Yeah, yeah.
I think I'm gonna definitely go with like a sporting event. You know what I mean? Like a big
Mhm.
like a big place. Like or I want to change it, but I'm not gonna change it. So I'll stick with sporting event. Just cause like you could just talk to people anytime, like through breaks. Like let's say if you're watching a football game, go at like
Mhm.
each half and start talking to people that are waiting in line. Like hi, like my name is Peter.
Right. So it'd be a good place for you to meet a lot of people.
Yeah, just a lot of
Right.
people at once in one place.
And you just say, "Hey, my name is thing."
Yeah. And then like,
And-
yeah, can you
okay.
say my name?
Right.
Just
Makes sense.
How about you guys?
I don't know. Maybe like one of those like business conferences. You know,
Yeah.
you always walk in there. Everybody's got a name tag.
Mm-hmm.
So when you walk up to someone, you greet someone with their name. They greet you with yours.
Yeah,
So you could just get the whole room to just say your name.
it's a good idea. Just be like, "Hi, my name's well." In your case, "Hi, my name's Joe." "Oh, nice to meet you, Joe," and then just fucking leave.
And then just walk away. And that's it. Just be like, thanks, man. You
Yeah.
just made me richer.
yeah. Thank you. Exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna say like something along the same lines, except like I don't know if people do this. Do people still do this? Like the speed dating? Do people
don't-
do that?
Yeah, that
I mean,
exists.
think
there's
it's still a
Tinder
thing,
now,
for
but
sure.
like, like
Bumble.
you got those like blue name tags that say "Hello, my name is
Mhm.
No,
blank."
that definitely exists
like
still.
for the speed dating shit, or like Alcoholics Anonymous.
To walk into a
Oh,
quick AA
that's
meeting.
good.
Yeah.
Hi, Julian.
Oh
That's-
man, you get rich as fuck.
Yeah, that's like $1,000 right there. That's assuming it's a
Shit.
10.
You gotta go
person
to
meet.
you gotta go to a popular one. You gotta go
Yeah,
to
you
one
have to
where
go to the
everybody.
biggest in the cities.
Yeah.
In the city.
Right. How
I
about
would.
you?
I'd probably go to Yonge and Dundas.
Wow.
Basically, it's the like most popular intersection in the country. In fact, statistically, you are most likely to see somebody that you know at Yonge and Dundas.
Interesting.
The more
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and I would go there and basically just I would say straight up, listen, do me a favor, say my name, hold up like a sign or something, you know,
Fuck man,
just
they
like
got.
just be greasy about it.
They
Fucking
might
introduce
expect you to
myself.
like perform for them because you know there's always people banging on plastic drums.
Man, I'll bring my fucking drum kit, dude. Yeah, we'll get it going.
With a
big
sign
time.
just taped to your chest, say my name.
Yeah, that's all. Just say my name. I'm just say not accepting tips. Just say my name.
No
You'd be doing me a
tip.
favor. Yeah, no,
No
tip.
tip.
Meanwhile,
Tip,
I'm
no
fucking
dip.
cashing in. I'd stay
Damn,
there all
boy.
night. I'd fucking have like a case of Red Bull next to me, so I can ensure that I stay up for the full 24 hours and such. Yeah, that's my
Peter,
plan.
why you look sad?
No, nothing. I dropped my phone and it made a sound.
Just be gentle.
I'm sorry.
What was
That's
your
okay.
other one, Peter?
My other one? Oh, my other one. It was it was gonna be a mall.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
A mall.
similar
Okay.
idea.
Similar
like
idea,
just
mall.
The popular places.
A mall on Christmas Day or Boxing Day.
Oh fuck that.
Boxing
Those
Day,
that's
no one
good.
wants to talk to you on that
Yeah.
day.
That's
Yeah,
true.
no, everyone's boogieing.
But
Especially like if it's in the States, they're just trying to trample you. and
Before they
just
maul
get
you
out of
over,
there.
just tell me to move. My name's Peter.
Shut up! Shut your fucking mouth!
Move, Peter. Thank you.
It's all it would take.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's next? What do we got planned?
I've got okay, my question is how did you lose the genetic lottery?
I can start.
Yeah,
If
go
you
for
guys
that.
Definitely my hands. I have fat fingers. I'm not gonna lie. You know.
Let's see.
They're a little chunky.
That's all right. Here, let's give a comparison.
They're a
Ah,
little-
but dude, they're proportioned.
yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know
but,
what I
like-
mean?
And
Like,
you
it's
know
not
what,
like,
man? In some instances, they're useful. So
Yeah.
It's not like you have abnormally large hands.
Yeah,
Like, no one
no,
will
you
no one
don't.
will look at you and be like, "Fuck, that dude's got big hands."
Yeah, that's the first one that came to me. So
Right?
but,
yeah.
Well, not to be self-loathing or deprecating, but I got 3 things for you guys.
Oh.
One of them, I'm fucking blind in my right eye, boys. That fucking blows, man. What else was the other one that I had in mind? I can't remember. Oh, the fact that, you know what, this could just be me talking shit, but I feel like I can't hear well. I always just haven't been able to hear well. But obviously the biggest one is Lee-Fraumeni syndrome. I got absolutely fucked on that one.
What?
What is? Oh,
We
is that
found any
like your,
syndrome.
your tendency?
Yeah.
For certain cancers.
Yeah,
Ah,
the
fuck,
genetic
That's
disorder.
actually a loss, man. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, no, like it, but like, fuck, man. Like I laugh. I make the joke all the time, actually. So it's funny you asked the question. I'm like,
Mhm.
honestly, I got fucked on the genetic cycle, man, or like the
Man,
genetic
now
lottery.
I don't really feel so fucked over anymore.
Well, what's yours?
Do I have to say it?
For the people,
Do
yeah.
I have to beat this dead horse?
Let's hear it, man.
Honestly, okay. Like you, I have more than one. For one, my toes. Sorry, I have ugly toes. I have ugly feet, and that's I've been told numerous times. But there's that. The hearing. In the Alicio family, it's common that your hearing sucks fucking balls. So expect me to be deaf soon. And yeah, I'm follically challenged, and that is, like I said, it's a dead horse. We gotta beat it every episode. It seems like.
Just keep punching it.
Yeah.
It's okay. You're follically challenged. I'm vertically challenged. So
Yeah. We all got our things, you know.
Yeah.
That's the thing with genetics. It's like you win some, you lose some.
That's it, man.
you
That's the
tend
way
to
of
lose a
life.
lot more than you win, though.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe it just sucks being a person. Is that
Yeah.
So you're saying don't be a person?
it? Yeah, maybe. Or just don't
be a
born.
fucking tree or something like that.
Man, I'd love to be a tree.
Yeah,
Would you
they
though?
do pretty
You
well.
don't
They
gotta
live for a
work.
few hundred years.
Yeah, but then what if some guy that looks like Lou comes up with this chainsaw and just starts going, yeah, starts chopping this thing down.
I love that. Then you know what, man? Then I'd live forever as a desk. Or some shit.
Yeah, and then you're at a
Then he-
desk and you got kids like
Carving.
drawing on you and carving shit into you.
Nah, you
carving-
get Zeppelin rules carved into you.
Oh, I was gonna say carving dicks.
Oh fuck, that too.
That happens
Fuck,
quite
yeah.
often.
Yeah, honestly, man, I think it'd be worse. So instead of getting the nyai taken to you, you get a fucking saw or just an axe taken to you. It's a slow, painful death for you.
Oh.
You're just getting beat in. Yeah,
Every time you get
exactly.
hit with that axe.
And you
Yeah,
just
and then
gotta
they
hope you
take off
fall
one
on
of
the
your
guy.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. The whole time you're like, you motherfucker, I'm coming down right on you.
Yeah, just keep cutting in that direction.
Yeah, exactly. You're praying for a gust of wind.
Yeah, I'm gonna be tipping towards you, pal.
Yeah.
Jesus
Man.
Christ.
Okay, who's next up on the question?
I got it.
Yeah.
So mine is, what's the best scene of any movie ever?
I'm going first.
Yeah, go.
Mm.
Hit it.
The introductory scene to Inglorious Bastards, hands down, by
Oh,
far dopest dope I've ever
man.
smoked.
That is good. I've seen
and
it.
that's uncontested.
Wow.
Every time I watch it, I get chills. Like
Honest-
there's so
yeah.
much that you could pick out from that scene. It is absolutely ridiculous.
I wish I thought of that one, man, because that's.
I
fucking
thought you
killed it.
did. That's why I went first.
No,
So-
no,
Trying
that
to
was
scum
good,
you of an
man.
answer.
Yeah,
so
I
you had
did
to
to him
pass it
last
around
week.
the table.
Yeah. How about you, Pete? What do you got?
For me, it's the same thing as an introductory, but for Django Unchained, the intro. Like,
What's
like you know,
Oh,
the-
when he's-
when,
yeah.
when they find the slaves, obviously, and then Christopher, what's his name?
Christoph Waltz.
yeah.
The
Django.
not Monsieur Candy, but
Yeah.
what's his name in that movie?
He's
Um,
a dentist. I know he's a dentist.
he's a dentist, Dr. Schultz.
Dr. Schultz.
Yeah,
When they
Dr. King Schultz.
Yeah, Dr. King
Right.
Schultz. When he goes and he's like, I'm looking for Django
Man, that
Unchained.
song is so good.
It is.
Django.
Have you
Django. Have you always?
But then when the men don't want him to take Django and he just takes action, I love that. That
Yeah,
was a good
yeah.
That's
and he
actually-
still pays them.
And he still pays them
Yeah.
as they're dying.
That movie was fucking dope.
It was a
It
great
was
movie.
really dope.
You know what, man? I didn't see the Hateful Eight, which like
I fell asleep through it.
yeah.
man.
See, that's exactly what happened to me. I saw the first half of it, and at first when it came out, it was getting like it was said to not be very good. But
Mhm.
now I'm hearing that it was.
I
Yeah,
watched-
it's
I
really
watched
good.
it.
Like,
I watched it
it's
completely.
good.
It was
What,
good.
what did you think? Yeah, you thought it was
Yeah,
good.
yeah, dude, it's a Quentin Tarantino movie. Like I like anything that guy touches is it's good.
Yeah, how can you go wrong?
I wanna give it a chance. It's just a matter of time, you know. I'm
And
just
it's
a little
long.
too busy these days. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
How
it's
long? It's
long.
it's his longest, right?
I'm not sure, but it's definitely like it's over 2 hours for sure, and I want to say over 2 hours 15 minutes.
Mhm.
It does get slow sometimes, but
Well-
that's all Quentin Tarantino movies are sometimes slow in some points.
Yeah.
But like
Well,
for
yeah.
any movie, it's there's points where
Well,
it's slow.
especially like 2-hour-long movies
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
are
you're
like
bound to get
story-driven
something.
and shit. But we should do a Tunf B live watch of Once Upon a Time in
Yeah,
Hollywood
I am.
when it comes out in July.
Yeah, July.
July. We should
Complex.
do that.
Complex.
Or
tweeted
if
it something.
anything, we'll watch it and then talk about it on the podcast 100%.
Yeah, no, for sure.
They say it's supposed to be good. Again, he has
Man, I
Leonardo
love-
in it. Dude,
I
he loves
love
DiCaprio.
anything to do with the Manson story.
Yeah,
And Sharon
yeah.
Tate and
Yeah.
shit.
No, it'll
And,
be good.
Leo's in it. Brad
Leo
Pitt's in
always-
it.
Brad
Brad
Pitt.
Pitt was really good in Inglourious Bastards. And Margot Robbie, man. Fuck.
You know what I realized? Quentin Tarantino doesn't like change of his actors. I feel like he.
Yeah,
No,
man. And
he
like
uses a
it's
lot of the
working
same.
though.
And it works for him, dude. It
Yeah.
really does.
Yeah, he's got Uma Thurman in a few, Samuel L. Jackson. If
Yeah, but he
you,
fucked over
um,
Uma Thurman.
yeah, I heard about
Hard.
that.
I didn't hear.
He's got
But save it for
Leonardo DiCaprio now in a few. He's got Christoph Waltz. That's his name.
Yeah, Christoph Waltz.
In a few
Mhm.
movies.
But again, he
I'm
doesn't.
sure he's
change.
got. I'm sure he's got a few. Brad Pitt is going to
Samuel
be
Jackson.
recurring. I mentioned
Oh,
him.
you mentioned him?
Yeah,
Tim Roth.
Tim Roth. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tim Roth.
Tim
Reservoir
Roth.
Dogs, Pulp Fiction. Himself always makes an appearance.
Yeah.
His appearance in
single
Django was
movie.
funny. He was like an
It is.
Australian, like just like he was just transferring slaves. Yeah,
Oh, that was really good.
that was a funny appearance. I like
Man,
when he throws the
his,
dynamite in
um,
with the slaves.
Yeah,
They
his
freak
role,
out.
his role in From Dusk Till Dawn was actually disturbing.
Oh, he was a fucking sicko, man.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like it was actually that was probably one of his bigger roles in his own
Yeah.
movie, and I guess important to
But
the
he was a
storyline.
producer. He wasn't the director.
I see. I think it was similar to Death Proof.
Yeah.
And Natural Born Killers actually. He did
Yeah.
he did the same thing. Natural Born Killers is a fucking good movie.
I haven't seen it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
I should watch
remember
it.
Cool.
after Spider-Man 3 came out, like I was all hyped and shit. Oh my god, I gotta watch Spider-Man 4. Gotta watch Spider-Man 4.
Yeah.
And on YouTube, like back then, this was like 2007, and people would always like make fake trailers of movies,
Mm-hmm.
and people would crop in clips from Natural Born Killers, and say that Woody Harrelson was gonna be Carnage in
Oh
Spider-Man
my
4.
god, that's fucked.
And so, like, here I am thinking, like, holy fuck, like, this is Spider-Man 4, this is Spider-Man 4. And then it just turns out it was Natural Born Killers. Yeah, but, great movie. I
Mhm.
really liked it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's freaky.
Really
It
freaky,
was
man.
freaky.
I like yeah, the whole thing was just like it was just over the top,
Yeah.
you know? But that's what made it so cool, I think, is that it was so nutty.
Mhm.
Everything. Even the name of that comedian, Rodney Dangerfield, I think, is
The
his
guy
name.
with the bulgy eyes.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. He
Yeah.
played in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, with
he
the
just
meat.
had with the meat.
With the meat. Yeah, that was disturbing.
Yeah, he just had like the most nutty, just freaky role, man.
Yeah.
Like, and he was a sicko. Like, he was like always fucking around with his daughter and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it was really creepy. But he played it so well, man. Like, he just played. I mean, he was such a small part, but like he just played that freak really
Mhm.
well. It was really cool, really well done.
And it kind
I
of
think.
set the like course of the movie in action.
Oh, it set the
Yeah.
pace, man. Because like you see that, you're like, what the fuck is the rest of this gonna hold in store? And man, it lived up to the rest of like that opening scene. I think it stayed just as wild the entire time. They go on this weird fucking trip because they were I don't remember if they were like smoking some sort of peyote or something with the native, or maybe he started to get all fucked up because they were getting stung by rattlesnakes or something, and the venom in them was basically making them like see shit and stuff.
I
Like
haven't
the
seen
whole
this
thing
movie.
was.
I really have to take.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I should do it.
it's really like we said, it's just really crazy. It's really weird, but it's interesting, man.
Yeah.
If it's a Tarantino movie, it's worth the watch. You know, just
Yeah.
just to say you watched
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Who's
But,
next?
Do you have anything in mind, Joe?
For me, I don't really like. I don't know. I don't really like remember anything that's really stood out to me from a movie. I more remember like jokes and like one-liners, like John joke and I borrow a pair of sweats.
Yeah.
That I'll never forget from Nacho Libre. Or is this the real Caesar's Palace? Or don't put your balls on my drum set.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
it's a classic.
True. Yeah, there's lots of good little bits like that.
Yeah, those are more so what I remember.
Jancho.
For,
Lou,
For,
just do me a favor and check the recording quick, just 'cause I'm a little paranoid for them last time.
We're good.
Still
We're good.
going.
Yeah,
good.
we're still going.
Aight.
What I had in mind for best scene, it's I mean, I'm always like this. I'm always impartial and kind of have a couple of different
Yeah.
ideas, but which is pretty bad. I should just pick one. But they all my ideas come from the Godfather. Primarily number one, although number two is arguably the better movie, but that's for another time.
Just preference.
Yeah, exactly. But
That's what movies are.
from the Godfather one, I'd say the scene where Michael kills the Virgil Sollozzo and the
Luca
police
Brasi?
chief. No, and the police chief. He doesn't kill Luca Brasi. Luca Brasi gets killed by Virgil Sollozzo. He
In
gets
the
choked out.
restaurant,
Yeah,
right?
it's in that bar. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but in the restaurant is where Michael Corleone kills.
I thought
Virgil
that was
Sollozzo.
Luca Brasi.
No.
I know the scene you were talking about, though.
Yeah. Either that one or when that whole little snip where Sonny finds that his sister Connie had been beat by her husband, and then he goes and finds him
Yeah.
like working a corner, and basically just fucking beats this guy to a pulp. That movie, man, like it has so much crazy emotion like that like you really want like I wish he killed that motherfucker, man, because like he was just like always beating Sonny and Michael's sister and stuff, like, and then he got what was coming to him, but they ended up whacking him. For those of you who didn't see the movie, but I mean, you guys
love
should
that.
like.
I
But
love
at this
that word.
point,
I read like the first two chapters of the book,
hmm
and this is the same thing that with Apocalypse Now and Heart of Darkness.
hmm
Man, Francis Ford Coppola, like when it comes to his adaptations of books and shit, like he's just so faithful. Like he just captures the essence of it, man.
Oh yeah,
Like the beginning scene of the wedding was just perfectly realized from Mario Puzo's image.
Mhm.
You
And
know?
Man, it's interesting that you should say that, because when I watched the movie before I read the book, I didn't finish the book. I finished about half of it.
Mhm.
So before I read half the book, I was so confused by that scene where Sonny's having sex with that woman.
Yeah.
I was like, but that wasn't even like, it didn't even have to be thrown in. It literally meant nothing. In the book though, it's like a
Mhm.
few
It's, like,
pages worth
drawn
of
out, right?
detail.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's drawn out really much. So I was like, oh shit, like it makes sense now that he would add so much of
Yeah.
it.
And like, when you're translating a movie to a book, like obviously the book is so much longer, so there's some challenges when it comes to bringing it onto the screen.
Definitely.
So it's like tough to like make audiences know what you're doing in an instance like that, when like you're reducing a page long scene
Mm-hmm.
down to a maybe 15-20 second clip.
Yeah, dude.
But
Game of Thrones has not that my answer isn't going to be exactly too informed, because I haven't read the Game of Thrones books.
Neither have
Neither
I.
have I.
Nick has
Yeah.
Nick
But
has been reading them.
Oh, really?
He says that they're very detailed.
They're very and that's the thing, dude. Like, they're like, I read a little bit of one of them, the first one, and like they'll be having a feast, and it will literally be like 4 pages worth of the author George R. R. Martin describing the food.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So they do a good job of that in Game of Thrones, I think, of kind of condensing it, but capturing what's necessary, at
Yeah.
least to what they chose to tell the story of. But one last thing about The Godfather before we move on from
Yeah.
it. There's one scene where Michael's wife, I can't remember her name right now, but anyway, where Michael's wife tells him that that the baby was aborted. It's definitely not my favorite scene in the movie, but I think that it might be one of the best
Is
scenes.
that the end of the second one?
It's
Or-
the middle. It's the middle of Godfather 2,
Yeah.
about the middle.
And he makes like he's standing in the doorway and he's like got a really cold face on.
That was later in the movie, before he kills Fredo.
Mm.
What happens is that they're in a hotel room, and he was going to like that federal court or whatever, being tried for like collusion and like whatever
Yeah,
the fuck he was being charged for.
racketeering and
Yeah,
shit.
exactly. And what happens is that it's just so fucked up, that scene, man. It always pissed me off so bad, because like you're rooting for Michael. Obviously, he's the main character, and then he tells her that she tells him rather that she aborted the baby because she can't see this whole mafioso thing going on any longer. And man, when I saw that, I wish he killed her, because there was so much, like the scene was so well done. There was so much emotion, man.
That's nutty.
But it just showed, man, like he was always pretty controlled. He never really lost control. And in this particular case, like you see, like his acting was so good. You see his face; he's just like kind of petrified almost,
Mhm.
And then he slaps her. But in that moment, man, I was like, "Fuck!" I honestly wish he killed her. Like I was so angry, man. Like that scene has so much emotion behind it. It's crazy. It's the exact same thing. The same parallel with Sonny. I wish he killed that fucking dickhead. Which again they ended up killing him, but it's fucked up. That movie has so many different emotions and so much, I guess, passion. Like
Yeah, there's a lot
they're
of levels
both really
to
well
it.
done. Oh, tons, man. And fuck, there was something else I wanted to say about the movie, but I don't really remember what it was. If I think about it, maybe I'll bring it up.
But everyone here answered Peter's question.
Yeah.
Everyone here had all their questions raised.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, but yeah, The Godfather. What's your favorite mob movie? Let's just go with one more, just to get it.
Goodfellas.
Goodfellas. I was
Yeah.
gonna say the same
Yeah,
thing.
dude, it's a classic.
Yeah.
It's a really good. Like I personally, I've never seen The Godfather. Like I should be watching it.
Oh yeah,
I haven't seen it either.
But
Wow.
I
like,
haven't seen it
it's
either.
on Netflix.
Nope.
but like
Wow.
Goodfellas, that's a fucking movie.
Yeah, everything about it, man, is so good. The pacing,
Joe Pesci,
the pacing is just so perfect. Like it's a 2-hour plus movie,
but it
and I
keep-
can sit down and watch it all the time and not even care that I'm wasting 2 hours
No.
because it's just so good. It just flows so perfectly. The soundtrack is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
The acting is brilliant. Joe Pesci, Robert De Niro, Ray Liotta.
They're all good.
Who else is in it?
I'm trying to think of another person.
Paulie. Who plays Paulie?
Yeah, see, he's not really a notable actor,
Yeah, he.
but
Fuck, I forgot his name.
There.
he's been in like a few things. But then there's you said Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci.
He's
yeah.
he's working.
The guy from,
the wife is pretty big
Oh,
name too.
yeah,
She was in
yeah.
The Sopranos. She was a
she's
psychiatrist in The
beautiful.
Sopranos. Yeah, she
She was a psychiatrist in The
The
Sopranos. I was just going to talk about
Sopranos.
The Sopranos because the guy that Joe Pesci kills in the bar, he the one who says, I'm a clown, I amuse you."
No. That was when he was talking to Ray Liotta.
Oh, in the restaurant.
He
right,
says to
right,
him,
right.
"Now go get
Oh,
your
get-
shoebox."
Yeah, no. That's the old dude. But he says to the guy in who's the heroin addict in The
Oh,
Sopranos.
Chrissy.
Yeah. And he says to him, "Get me a fucking drink," or something like that.
Yeah,
and he goes to
yeah.
get him a
Because he
drink.
was Chrissy was not Chrissy,
Yeah.
but he was serving them.
But speaking of The Sopranos, a lot of people speak really highly of it, and it was just announced that they're doing a prequel series.
Yeah, I saw that, and apparently, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, the Writers Guild of America called The Sopranos the best written TV series of all time. Sounds like someone's having a shit.
No,
Fuck.
I believe it, man.
Yeah.
It's got such great critical acclaim. The prequel, Tony Soprano is actually going to be played by his son in real
Yeah.
life. What's his name?
James
Gandolfini.
Tommy Gandolfini.
But then the
or
son is
something.
Tommy. Yeah,
I don't know if that's actually his name, but I'm just Tommy. It fits the theme.
it does. But
Jimmy, Tommy.
just to answer your question about the best mobster movie or my favorite mobster movie, it has to be The Godfather 1 and 2 as a whole combined. Fuck number 3. I try to watch it. At one point, it was like once a month I'd watch 1 and 2, but now
I
it's like
didn't
once
even,
every 3 months.
A lot of people don't even acknowledge the third one's existence.
Oh,
so.
dude, man, there's actually a funny bit in The Office where
Michael says the best one or something.
no, close enough. Like Michael's talking about a movie series, and he says, "Why couldn't they just wrap it up well? Like Godfather 1 and 2 are meh, and then number 3 just wraps it up beautifully." And like it's literally the worst fucking movie of all time. Like, but
Speaking of The Office
yeah,
and Sopranos again, the second best written TV show,
hmm
according to the Writers Guild of America, is Seinfeld. Now,
I believe it.
you believe it.
Why not, man?
No-
It did so well.
Yeah, and man, I love Seinfeld so fucking much. Like, you guys know me, I'm George Costanza. But it's sitting at an 8.9 out of 10 on IMDb and 88% on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, 88% on Rotten Tomatoes for the second best written TV show of all time, that seems a little low to me.
It seems very low because
Yeah.
shit gets 100% sometimes, rarely, but
Yeah.
it gets it.
And now let's compare that with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is sitting at 97% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh wow.
And 8.4 out of 10 on IMDb. So the ratings are a little bit different, but what stands out to me is the Rotten Tomatoes. And, Seinfeld has won a lot of awards in its syndication. 1 Emmy, 1 Golden Globe, and 1 Screen Actors Guild Award. But, again, you compare that with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, again, another sitcom. And it won 2 Emmys, 2 Golden Globes, and has been nominated for a whole whack of others that I could list on Wikipedia for you right now, but it would take about 5 minutes of this thing. And I just wanted to know your guys' thoughts on this show, because I've been watching it a lot lately, and I've actually found myself laughing out loud so hard. Like, I'm in the 3rd season, about the middle point of the 3rd season, and the jokes to me are like really I like subtle jokes,
Mm-hmm.
and it reminds me a lot of The Office with that, because The Office has like really subtle jokes.
Mm-hmm.
And everything about it, man. I love the development of the characters. Like, it's just, I love that shit. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. I know you guys have all seen it
Yeah.
here, so
Mm-hmm.
it'd be good for us to talk about.
Well, relative to Seinfeld being second best show in accordance with the Writers Guild, I think that Seinfeld's probably a better show than Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It doesn't have to be as funny, but it's probably written better, produced better, and not only that, but Jerry Seinfeld and
Larry David.
Larry David.
So funny.
They're the
Man.
2 richest actors in the world, like according to CelebrityNetworth.com.
Man, those
but,
royalty monies that they're fucking
right.
cashing in on.
So
ridiculous.
I think that what plays a role, or could have played a role, is that's an award of high esteem. These guys, man, these guys are 2 people who are held in high esteem, a hell of a lot higher than Andy Samberg.
Yeah.
Mhm.
See what I mean? So I think that might have played a role.
Yeah.
Also, about Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I think that why it's done so well on Rotten Tomatoes, because when Seinfeld wasn't around, there was no Rotten Tomatoes. and there was no IMDb. So I think that Brooklyn Nine-Nine is just really contemporary. It's avant-garde, right? So I think that's the right word. Like, it just means it's now, right?
Well, like
Um,
avant-garde is like out there. Like, I don't think that Brooklyn Nine-Nine is really doing anything much different, like anything to upset the genre.
Okay, got it. So that's
But,
they're kind of like
yeah.
game changers, avant-garde. Fine. So then it's
Mhm.
contemporary, in the way that they make their jokes. It's all
Yeah.
relative to today, right? Or relevant to today. And Seinfeld doesn't have that same appeal any longer because it was filmed so long ago.
Mm.
So I think that for something like Rotten Tomatoes or IMDb, which is relatively new platforms. I mean, even if they're 20 years old now, or easily like accessed by everybody for 15 years maybe, Seinfeld wasn't exactly around for that. So I think that's why Brooklyn Nine-Nine probably is rated so much higher
Mhm.
on websites like that.
Yeah, that could be a factor.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, me personally, obviously, I love Seinfeld is probably my favorite show of all time. It's tied for me with Curb Your Enthusiasm. I
Oh,
fucking
that
love
show.
Larry David. Have
That
you seen
show.
Curb Your Enthusiasm, Joe?
No, I
That
haven't.
sh-
You
that-
gotta watch it. Like, you know that.
That show's good. So fucking-
Yeah.
And
That comes from the show.
Jesus
It's like
fucking
the
Christ.
Oh,
the
okay.
theme song.
Okay.
But yeah, man, I don't know what it is about Larry David. He's just so good at writing jokes, and like for the longest time, like people like sitcoms or like comedic actors, like they just struggled so hard to get their sitcom because that's what the golden standard was. Joe Rogan was talking about this with Andrew Schultz, I think, on their
Yeah, this
latest
week.
episode together. Yeah, and yeah, they were saying that. But Peter and Joe, I'd love to know your thoughts on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, it's probably my favorite show right now.
Really?
I'm just getting into it.
What's your favorite part about it?
I like the relationship between the captain and his employees.
Man,
I like.
yeah.
Like,
Me too.
I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I find it's like I don't know. Like, it's kind of like a breath of fresh air in the sense that like
Mm-hmm.
yes, we see it a lot, especially in like shows like The Office and stuff like that. But like in The Office, you see like the boss is really trying to like captivate his group of people, and they aren't really having it.
Would you say it's the other way around in Brooklyn
It
Nine-Nine?
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. They're really trying to get I don't know, just to get a laugh out of their boss
Mhm.
in every single episode,
Yeah.
and it's they don't.
Yeah.
But it gets. I'm sure it'll get there. I haven't seen the whole show, so
In,
we're getting there.
Yeah.
throughout the series, like there's like really two characters that stand out to me the most that are like most like emotionally reserved.
Mhm.
Obviously Captain Holt
Mhm.
and Rosa.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, like one of my favorite parts about it is that there's this sense of camaraderie that they all have with each other, and they all like slowly break down those barriers, and
Mhm.
now they're actually like becoming a team at the point that I'm in the series. And I just really like that.
Mhm.
It's an interesting dynamic, and it allows for something like really emotional and human to happen
Exactly.
while also being fucking hilarious.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's
There's so much funny shit. But by far for me, the funniest part about the whole series is Captain Holt's rivalry with
Yeah.
fucking that wench lady.
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
I'm aching. Does he call her something wench? Does he call
yeah,
her
he
wench?
goes, I'm
at
taking
one
you
point?
out. Or like taking you out for wench or lunch or something. Like,
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, why doesn't he just fucking call her wench? Like, please. It's wench, not wench.
Yeah.
But the play on words is there. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah, definitely. I think that
I love that, man.
that Scrubs offered a similar thing that Brooklyn Nine-Nine offers in the sense of that whole like the relationship people develop in the workplace in a setting where you wouldn't expect that. Like Brooklyn Nine-Nine's obviously it's a police precinct.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Scrubs is a hospital. I mean it's a little bit different because the boss, the big boss in Scrubs is always fucking miserable, and that doesn't change.
Mhm.
I mean, he'll be happy when his underling and also the boss of the doctors is he'll be happy when he's miserable when Dr. Cox is miserable, which is fucking funny because it's the only time that the head guy's happy. I can't remember his name, but you see like the whole series long, Dr. Cox teases the main character JD and always calls him girl names and stuff like that. But he's got every episode he's got like a new name, a new woman's name to call JD. It's actually really fucking funny, and he goes on these crazy rants. So you don't see him ever really turn nice the way that Captain Holt was never mean, but You don't really see him turn nice the way that Captain Holt is, but it's a similar
Mhm.
idea, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Peter, what's your favorite aspect of the show?
It definitely has to be like that. When you look at these shows, right? You look at these cop shows and everything, like Lethal Weapon and stuff like that. It's like
or like
dun
dun dun dun dun. What the fuck's the
Oh
name
my
of that
God,
shit?
fucking Miami
Mariska
Vice. Is that
Hargitay.
it?
yeah.
No, what's her fucking name? Detectives Unit. God, what the hell?
Law and Order.
Law and Order SVU.
Like shows
With
like
fucking Ice-T.
Yeah.
Like, how cliche is it?
And
It is.
fucking that Criminal Minds. That's
oh,
one.
CSI. Like,
CSI, yeah.
fuck.
like it's different from that, and that's what I
Yeah.
like about it. And also, there's one thing I wanted to bring up. This is like completely, I'm getting off topic, but haven't you realized that Terry Crews?
My favorite.
Dude,
He's my favorite
but
character in the
Hi-
show.
His name in the show is Terry as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
you noticed that? Like
Yeah.
it's like maybe there's something that like if he forgot, like he doesn't like changing his name in the show.
They do that in The Office too. Oscar's name is Oscar Nunez.
Yeah.
Angela's name
Yeah,
is
all their
Angela.
names are their actual names.
Yeah.
Creed's
Yeah.
name is actually
It's
Creed.
Creed.
Creed is the legitimate. He was legitimately in a band called
Yeah.
the Grassroots or something
Yeah,
like
the
that.
Grassroots.
Yeah.
And my
And,
favorite bit in The Office is when Ryan was like when he was first a temp and he was like sitting beside Creed and he was like, he's a distinct old man smell, and he's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I have mung beans in my desk.
Yeah. I know
just
exactly
love
what he's
that.
talking about. Yeah, and he's like, put them on a damp napkin. Man,
But-
yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
continue.
but just to go on with the Brooklyn Nine-Nine, it's just like even Andy Samberg as a producer, like he's comedy gold. Like he's really funny because he
Mhm.
brings out these jokes that like not everybody wants to hear, but Andy Samberg's Jewish. It's a Jewish name,
yeah,
but he
oh,
brings
yeah.
out those Jewish jokes too. He brings out like
Yeah.
even like as Rosa, like when you guys, I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah,
but
don't spoil it.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about. But
I know what you're talking about. Like Rosa changes, but it's
yeah,
just-
they all experience some sort of
they all
change.
experience things, and it's just
Yeah.
like I said, like you guys said, they come together as like as a precinct.
Yeah, and that's what I really like about it. And The Office does a similar thing. You know, they all bond like that. and
Yeah,
it's cool to see, man.
Last
It-
episode
it's
sad
It's
in the
fucking
office.
funny too.
in the end, they're
Sad
all
as hell.
It is.
Yeah, dude.
In the end, they're all good friends with Michael, and like at the
Yeah.
beginning, they all didn't stand a shit. But
Mhm.
my favorite bit in The Office, because you mentioned the mung beans, I've got two. One of them is when the introduction. Both of them are intros that I'm referring to, but one of them is when they're talking about when they're doing a knock knock joke, and then it's the KGB, and then one of them gets slapped. Whatever. It's,
Dwight.
yeah, with Dwight. And then it's KGB. I'm not answering that. But
you have to.
I like the one where a salesman comes in trying to sell a phone system that would basically replace Pam's job,
Yeah.
and he's asking if Michael Scott's in. She's like, no, he's not in. The guy had come like 8 times.
Yeah.
So Jim stands up and goes, Michael Scott, regional manager, like trying to be just like Michael. Michael walks outside and he's like, hi, Michael Scott, regional manager. Jim looks at him, Jimbo, and Michael just loves it. He's like, he does that face, you know, that face of excited expression. Jim, hey.
Yeah.
It's a good show,
That's
man.
so
Yeah.
funny. That
Yeah.
That show's doing well. Obviously, it's pretty well. It's doing pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
On Rotten Tomatoes, that's at an 89%, and it's an 8.8 out of 10 on IMDb. And yeah, that's a show that's really in the collective consciousness of Netflix users, I guess. or
Yeah,
like
that's what
people
I was
in
gonna-
general now.
that's what
Like,
I was
you know,
gonna
that's,
say.
That's made memes. Like it's everywhere.
Yeah, it is.
The Office memes.
The no God, please no.
Yeah.
That was
No
at one
God.
point
Yeah.
everywhere.
A lot of gifs were made out of that and shit.
Mhm.
Man, I hate now when I had a coworker of mine a while back, not at my current job, and one day like something happened, and then he basically tried to like tie that meme into something that was funny or like something that had happened at work, but he thought it was like so fresh and so brand new and so funny, and I was just like in my head, I'm like, shut
How
up, man.
fucking hard
like,
did you cringe?
like, yeah, oh, I did, dude, because I was like, dude,
Ugh.
this shit's fucking like. It's like there are so many other scenes you can reference now in The Office, especially like because so many people have seen it.
Mhm.
That was just like you're talking how you like the that's it basically when people talk about how they like The Office and they reference that scene. Like
Yeah.
shut the fuck up, man. You don't know The Office.
Fuck's
Like,
sakes.
but yeah,
Or
I love-
that's what she said. It's like,
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
that died like 6 years ago.
I love
Yeah.
Kevin, dude. Kevin makes me.
dude, I hate how they made Kevin
So
progressively more stupid.
Yeah.
Like at the beginning he was smart, and
He was.
Like, well, yeah, man. Like he
Yeah,
wasn't.
like,
He
wasn't
an
that
idiot.
stupid. Like
He wasn't that stupid. He
Yeah.
talked normally, but then they made him like talk like a fucking retard.
I don't know how to do math.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
and
had
like,
like that Kevin's algorithm thing.
yeah.
When you put a
Like,
random
didn't
number,
make sense. Yeah.
he put like a sign or something, and it's
Yeah.
like that's Kevin's magic number.
Man,
Yeah, the
fucking-
Clevin, a Clevin, something a Clevin gets you home by 7. He was home by 4:30 that day.
Man, my favorite bit with Kevin is when like he's just randomly fucking a poker all-star.
Dude,
Yeah.
man,
What
that's
the
the whole joke about the show is like, for one, he's actually like this poker fucking genius,
Yeah.
and he was doing the whole, like, apparently the bit or like the conspiracy is that he was doing insider training the entire trading, sorry, insider trading the entire show. So he was
Uh-huh.
actually like some fucking nutty genius,
Yeah.
but he was just played off as this
He
fucking
was just
dummy.
shoving
Fuck,
M&Ms in his mouth. So
Yeah.
how many
Yeah.
he can put in there.
Do you want
Remember
some?
that when there's this one episode where he just like shoves a bunch of food in his mouth and it's not the M&Ms, it's something different. He starts like choking on it. I don't remember what it was though. Yeah, fuck man, what a good show.
So we all here clearly love The Office.
Yeah.
We love Brooklyn Nine-Nine and we love Seinfeld. What about Friends?
Not a fan.
Not a fan.
Not a fan whatsoever.
I like Friends.
No.
Like I've watched
Yeah.
I watched a couple of episodes and I'm like, it's hard, man. It's hard getting into it because it's like, I don't know, like you're usually sticking with like your characters that you do like.
Yeah.
Like again, I'm going back to The Office. It's like those characters you like. You like the Michael Scotts. You like
Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a lot of forced laughter.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, I
And
don't-
melodrama. Is that just me? It's like they try to make it really dramatic at like
Yeah.
certain points.
Yeah.
And it's just like, fuck that. Like, what do you want to do? Do you want to be a comedy or do you want to be a dramatic
the
show?
love show.
I
And
s-
don't get me wrong, there are dramatic elements in a lot of sitcoms,
yeah.
especially like the Golden Girls. Have you guys seen the Golden Girls?
No,
In the Golden Girls, that's in it a lot. There's a lot of drama, but
a lot.
But no, Friends, man, it's just so fucking waxy and shit. You
Yeah.
know, I don't
Yeah.
like it. And that's at a 78% on Rotten Tomatoes, so I think that speaks.
That look on your face.
And even
Yeah.
even Netflix renewed.
And exactly, I was just about to say
Yeah.
the same thing. Netflix just paid $100 million to keep the show on their streaming service
'Cause
for
people-
another year.
because people were
Because
complaining.
it's the most streamed show. Quit that. It's the most streamed
Yeah, I
show.
had to move that.
It's all good.
bean.
It's the most streamed show on the platform by far.
Yeah, well, you know what, man? I think it's got the attention of like the people who were young and watching it, you know, back then, 20 years ago, whatever.
Mhm.
And like my sister, for example, just got the attention of young people. My sister just recently started watching it.
My little cousins have seen the show over,
Yeah.
and
And that
they're like 6,
That's
7.
There you go. And
So-
I remember watching the show with my mom when I was a kid. Like,
Yeah, like, it was always on TV.
Always.
Yeah. But you can do
But,
things. You can do things as you're watching that show. That's the thing. Like,
Yeah.
like you know what I mean. Like cook
Yeah.
dinner or something like that. Like you don't need to pay attention to it.
no. But that show is I think each episode is like, I really can't remember the number right now for sure, but I think it was something like 3 or 4 minutes of the 22-minute episodes where it's just straight laugh track, and then basically their whole bit is they'll have a laugh track and then like a massive pause before the next person responds to them. So it's like
Yeah.
they'll deliver a punchline, laugh track comes in, and there's just that open pause. Someone laughs at the open pause, and then there's the response. I think three or 4 minutes of each episode approximately was basically just that.
Just pauses.
Just open space and laugh track combined. So the substance, man, like
yeah.
it was lacking in comparison to well, Brooklyn Nine-Nine doesn't have a laugh track. The Office doesn't have a laugh track. Scrubs, just because I mentioned earlier,
Mhm.
doesn't have a laugh track. So there's added substance there
Yeah.
and no space for that gappage.
Well, I don't really know much about sitcoms, but Friends and Seinfeld are obviously from the 90s,
Mhm.
before the 2000s, and they use what was called like a multi-camera setup. So, like if you look at the set, like you see different shots from different angles and whatnot, and that's the same thing in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, The Office, and whatnot. But those shows are post 2000s era, and they're single cameras.
Single
So,
camera.
Yeah. And so like it's more like in the face rather than these widespread shots
Yeah.
showing absolutely everybody in the
in the
set.
cafe or whatever.
Yeah,
Mhm,
the
yeah.
fucking-
Yeah.
and that shit. And yeah, you know, it's just like there's some sort of cheese to that. Is that just me?
No.
No, I agree with you.
I see what you're saying.
I agree with you.
Like, don't get me wrong, Seinfeld is fucking cheesy as fuck.
Oh, 100%.
But It's like
It's
a,
more
a
up close
nice,
and personal, though.
It's a nice cheese. You
It-
know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Man, aged to perfection.
Yeah, it's like a nice sweet Gouda.
I was
or
about to say
whatever,
Gouda as well.
or whatever you like,
You know what?
or American cheese on Five Guys burgers.
Oh
God.
wow. What I don't like about Seinfeld and Curb Your Enthusiasm, I think, is that their jokes are just they're so predictable. They have the same outline for every bit that they have.
That's
you know.
That's Larry David for you.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's it. And like it's
That is
funny
Larry
as
David.
fuck. It's definitely hilarious, but it's just the same thing. Like you can literally pick guess what George Costanza is gonna say
especially
next.
for George. Yeah, I was gonna say that for George, and Jerry to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the most dynamic character is Kramer.
I fucking
It
love
is. Yeah.
Kramer.
So it
I
became
love
a
my
loose
favorite.
cannon.
My favorite Kramer bit is yeah. I mean, this cologne smells like the beach. Like, that's my favorite bit. Smells like the beach, right?
I remember that episode. Yeah,
Fuck,
no,
man.
he's funny. He's just like the oddball, the loose
Yeah.
cannon, you know.
Yeah.
And he comes up with a bunch of shit. I like the one where they're like a laundromat or something, and then they try to ruin his laundry machine by shoving fucking concrete in it. And Kramer's like trying to distract, or maybe Jerry was trying to distract. I don't really remember,
Yeah.
but that's a funny
That
bit.
was fucking good, man.
Yeah, I watched so many episodes of that in maybe about like 9 months ago or so in such rapid concession that I don't really remember a lot from any of them. I can't. It's not like, I mean, I guess it's different because The Office I've literally seen like probably no exaggeration 20 times over, so I can remember it bit by bit. But I don't really remember much from Seinfeld just because I watched, like I said, just bang bang
Mhm.
bang. You know?
Yeah, like it's easy to consume these sitcoms in fucking large portions, right?
Sure, everything's so accessible now
Can
Mhm.
bang,
with Netflix and whether it's I don't know Hulu,
Yeah.
anything the Crave
Even
TV,
PVR if you still use like
PVR too.
yeah.
You can binge something, watch an entire season, and still have half your day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
definitely.
It's I think that's why, and especially with someone like me, I was never really into sitting down and watching shows in rapid succession. Now, well, really since like the Netflix era, I'll call it, I find myself doing that more, and you don't remember as much from the show.
No.
Whereas like when we were younger, you would have to wait a week, and it's still to this day there are shows that I watch, whether it's an animated show or it's an actual TV show.
Mm-hmm.
I have to wait a week before I can watch it. So it's not always fresh in my head. It's not. Fuck! I just lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry, man.
That's okay.
It's not always fresh in your head,
Yeah,
but
it's that was funny, so it's all good. But I'm always like excited to know like what's gonna happen next.
Mhm.
Whereas with these, it doesn't give you any time
No.
to like
no.
No.
think about the episode that was before, and that's what helps you remember.
Yeah.
Is having to think about. You have a whole week to think about what happened
Mhm.
in this one little half an hour, 22 minutes episode, whatever it is.
Mhm.
Whereas if you're sitting in a chair and you're on a couch in your bed, binge watching show
On your
after show after
phone.
show on your phone, you can watch them anywhere. You can download them now
Yeah.
straight on Netflix.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And you
Yeah.
can bring it
Download. You
mobile.
can bring them on an airplane, bring them
Yeah.
on the train, bring them wherever you want to go.
Yeah.
And you're just banging them out in rapid succession. Doesn't give you that time frame to think about what
No.
happened last episode. It's okay. Now what's gonna happen this episode?
Yeah, and like the thing about that is like aside from your phone, there's like you can fall asleep.
Mhm.
You can literally fucking like you can go take a piss, man, because like typically if you're watching that show where you get it once a week, you know, you'll wait for a commercial. But if you're just in
I'm
your
holding it.
bedroom and you've been watching, yeah, you're holding it
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
Whereas
Holding it.
now, like with Netflix, man, you could just if you don't pause it, which honestly I hardly do. But
I
like,
do.
Mhm.
I
You basically just fucking stand up real
Yeah.
quick, and then all of a sudden you miss like 3 minutes. You know, you went to go take a piss, and you're like, ah, fuck it, I want some crackers
Yeah.
or something. So you walk downstairs
Yeah.
and go get some food. Like
I
I don't know.
remember when
Some
Netflix
tortellini.
like first started hitting this scene, like one of their selling points or whatever was that you can pause and resume whenever the fuck you want.
Mhm.
Like you remember that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But would you say that like this streaming service and whole binge watching culture just really caters to like this growing like sense in all of us that we just want to consume things like en masse? Like would you say that?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
making very impatient people.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say this is the sole cause of it,
Mhm.
but it's definitely paying a part because if you look at I don't want to say it like, oh, millennials, you know, because we're millennials too.
Yeah, I'm suffering. Yeah.
So I've noticed my patience, especially when it comes to TV shows, it sucks now because I don't want to wait when I know I can have it now,
Yeah.
right? So it's even, let's say I stop watching the show at 2 o'clock to head to work. If I come home at 9 o'clock and I want to watch the show, I'm gonna watch the show.
You're picking up right where you left off with nothing to worry about.
Yes,
and it's so
it's-
simple.
And so I don't have to be patient.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to say, okay, well, I have to wait a week. It is what it is. Let me go do my stuff.
Yeah.
And then when I come back in a week, it'll be there. Now it's, no, I'm going to come back down, turn on my computer, turn on my TV.
Mm-hmm.
It
and
becomes a routine.
It does.
Yeah.
and-
It does.
Dude, like that impatience, like, it applies to me for like let's say playing League
Mhm.
or NHL,
It's
you know,
true.
loading screens. I'm
It's
on my
true.
phone. I can't fucking wait for that, man.
Yep.
Or even if I'm playing a video game, assuming my computer can run both a YouTube video and my video game, like I can't play Civilization, for example, just because I started that. I have a YouTube video running all the time.
Mhm.
Just because like I can't just I need that extra background stuff. You know, it's like it's fucking bad, man. Like I can't just focus on the one thing anymore just because there's so much fucking going on.
Now let me ask you this
Mhm.
comparison, because you used to play RuneScape as a kid.
Yeah.
And now you still play it to this day.
Yep.
What's the difference now?
I never would have done that. I would maybe have music on,
Mhm.
but literally it was sole attention to RuneScape. Sorry, I just got a notification. The Leafs won the game. No, they lost the game 3-0. Sorry.
Nice.
I thought it said 6-3. I don't have my glasses on. Anyway, so what happened was that when I was young, there was a 0% chance, man. Like again, maybe music, definitely never YouTube. I was like typing to people in the game and stuff like that. Now I hop on RuneScape and I'll be in a Discord chat with everybody else, or if I'm not in Discord with anybody, I'll have YouTube running. I can't fucking fuck that, man. Like I can't just I just need the extra. It's really bad.
Mhm.
It's like anything, man. Fucking not like, I mean, I probably shouldn't be saying this, but like stopping at a red light, man. How many times you guys pull out Instagram or something? Like, I've done that shit.
Not even just like to unlock, but just like a quick glance,
Yeah.
or like you
Yeah,
skip
oh
the
yeah.
song.
Yeah.
we
Like
all-
if it's
we all do that.
especially
We've all
with a
done that.
song like again, like the impatience, like you're just okay, next song, like fuck, when's it gonna just come on? So you just gotta like skip
you find the song
until it's
you want.
another
Mhm.
song that you listen to for another minute and 30 seconds, and then do the
Mhm.
same thing
Well,
again at the next red light. And yeah, I just feel like we have so much content readily
Mhm.
available to us.
That's
and
exactly what it is.
it's like our brains are never unplugged.
Nope.
And it's just not healthy.
Yeah. How many
Dude,
times? Sorry, not to cut you
no,
off.
No, it's okay. Continue.
How many times have you had nothing to do? You've gone on your Instagram, refreshed the page, the same picture's still there, because that's how many you went back so soon.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All the
and
time.
and you feel yourself getting frustrated
Mhm.
that there's no new content being thrown
yeah.
at you.
and
It
it's all
happens-
fucking bullshit anyway.
It is. It's all bullshit anyways, but it just shows how impatient we're becoming.
Oh yeah.
and
undoubtedly.
it's all incorporated with our laziness too,
Mm-hmm.
because now everything is available in your hands, right in your face. Like Juice was saying, we're newer unplugged.
No.
We're always just thinking about what's the next thing, what's the next thing, what can we do next, what can I look at next, what can I learn next.
Mm-hmm.
So we have news outlets on our phones now. We have the weather on our phones now. The time. 90% of people aren't wearing watches anymore
Mm-hmm.
because they just pull out their phones.
Yeah, you don't need it.
You see business people who don't even wear watches anymore because they just pull out their phone, they look at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Some people
And
still
some
do
people
because
can't
it's
even read
professional.
time.
Some people
Some
can't
people
read
can't
the
even read
time.
an
That's
analog
disgustingly
time.
common.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people can't read the time. They don't know the analogs.
Mhm.
And,
And it's like, dude, that's you learn that when you're a child. Like
Yeah.
you should know that.
Yeah, that's such a weird thing to me, man. Not knowing how to read a clock. Like, it's not even about like whether or not you know how. Like, as an adult, as a teen, you can learn that in 3 minutes, man. It
Mhm.
doesn't take anything. Like, it's such a simple concept, you know.
Mhm.
There's a big hand, a little hand. Little hand represents what hour it is. Big hand represents what minute
Man,
it is.
we
Like,
that
learned
it's
really
so
thin
easy.
one is the seconds.
We
Yeah,
learned this shit
exactly.
in fucking primary school. I can't believe we have to explain this to people who actually don't know it.
Yeah,
like, that's
like, it's-
fucked.
It's crazy.
But it's
But,
scary how many people there are.
Just to offer like a sort of counter opinion
Mm-hmm.
to all this content we have, like in a lot of ways, it's like in the direction of progress because
Yeah,
we
for
have
sure.
so much information readily available to us. Like, you know, people could be smarter than ever, but they could also be dumber than ever, you know?
Mhm.
But like I said, like there's so much information readily available to us that like if you want to know something, you can find out. If you want to teach yourself something, you can go on YouTube
Yep.
and watch a video and learn how to use Microsoft Access or Microsoft Project. You guys ever heard of that?
Microsoft Project.
I've never Microsoft Project.
Yeah,
That's like a scheduling program, right?
When I had to do it for project management.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you can learn how to do that on YouTube if you want, and
Mhm.
that's really helpful in a lot of ways. Like you know, this setup we have going on right now, what we're doing here right now. We
Yeah.
didn't know how to do it 8 weeks ago,
Mhm.
but because of YouTube, we learned.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah,
that's
there was a lot of problem solving too that we just fucked with. But
yeah.
There's a lot
but-
less trial and error now, though,
Yeah.
than I'm saying in general,
Mhm.
not in regards to our setup. There's a
Yeah.
lot less trial and error just because we have so much information like readily
Mhm.
accessible to us. But another good thing is like the Amber Alerts too. Like
Yeah, we
get-
got one today,
we
right?
did get one
Yeah,
today.
dude.
She
And
was
I
found.
fucking
Yeah.
hate
She
it
was
when
found?
people complain about it, dude. Like there were so many complaints called to the police for that last Amber Alert when
yeah,
that
the one we had about
14-year-old
a month ago.
the month ago, and
and she was
that's
found dead.
that
man.
was
Yeah, she was
fucking
found dead.
that's
Yeah,
disgusting.
that's
dude.
actually gross. And then was it in Hawaii or Japan? There was an earthquake or a volcano eruption about a year ago, and like their phones, not only did like the Amber Alert notification pop up, but there was like a loud alarm noise.
Yeah, it was
coming up
probably
too.
Hawaii then.
Yeah, I think it was Hawaii. But yeah, so like shit like that's really helpful,
Mhm.
you know. But it's still at the end of the day, it kind of reminds me of like The Matrix, like in that one scene where like Neo like wakes up and like he's in this big ass fucking room full of pods, and everybody is just in a pod and they're all plugged into the Matrix. Like that's what I think about when I think of all of us being attached to like social media and YouTube and Netflix and all this content and everything.
Man,
It's freaky.
you said that there's definitely benefits to having it available to us, like to learn stuff online or have YouTube. The thing is that most of what we're linked in with is just it's not that.
So
No, it's not.
so inconsequential.
Yeah.
It's
you
hard,
see-
man.
You see people making
It's a
a
hard
living
situation.
off of stupidity now online, whether
Yeah.
it's
The Unfinished Basement Podcast.
No, we're not.
No,
quite
no,
there
we're not
yet.
making a
we're not
living.
making a dime.
We're living for the unfinished basement.
Yeah,
But,
exactly. Straight out of pocket.
You see podcasts not so much, and not being biased, but just because
No,
they
no.
provide, whether it's an information or they provide an outlet for people who are interested in a certain topic.
It's definitely a creative outlet.
It is. It's a
Mhm.
creative outlet. But then you see the other side of the 8 ball, and it's like Instagram models,
Mm-hmm.
and it's and stuff like that. And like, I don't have an issue with like people making a living because they're good at something. Like, if you're good at something, by all means, go ahead and do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like these vloggers and whatnot. But I think it's a little too much.
Yeah.
Like, I think they're
Yeah.
glorified a little too much. It's at a point now where these vloggers are being considered like celebrities.
Yeah, and they all have like their own designated tattoo guy. You know, like this one fucking guy. What's his name?
Romeo
Yeah,
Lacoste.
Romeo Lacoste.
Lacoste.
Like these guys. Before we get into him, but like these YouTubers and these celebrities, like they're having fan meetups now. Tana Mongoose is fucking selling her
Virginity.
T-shirts and her fucking signatures to
For
these
doing nothing.
for doing nothing to these little 13-year-old girls who don't know better.
Mm-hmm.
That right there is the issue with a lot of these people, especially like the Paul brothers.
oh,
Their
Oh,
their
God.
age, their viewership wasn't people our age typically.
No.
You know, and,
No, no.
and we're like young, obviously, and it's sure as hell isn't the 40-year-olds and the 30-year-olds and the 25-year-olds.
Yeah,
They're preying on fucking 13-year-olds, man. Logan Paul or Jake Paul, whatever, the
and they
two
know
dickheads.
It, man. And
Oh,
they
of course,
fucking
man.
know
Dude,
it.
they created some shitty song. It was literally just the whole song was basically just saying buy merch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Buy like whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like, and they're preying on all these young people, and I think that should, not that it can be outlawed, I guess, but it's fucking criminal, man. Instagram, like a parallel to that is Instagram and their ads and like the games that are available for install. Some little kid, you know, my sister has actually done it before a couple years ago. She installed the game, on her iPhone that she found off of Instagram. I'm pretty sure that she saw it off of Instagram. And then as soon as you log in, it says you have to pay $64.99. In her case, it was actually $10 a month. But I personally have clicked on one of these because the game looked fun, and it said $64.99. You get the first 3 days free, and then it's $64.99 a week to subscribe.
What?
And
And I bet you
shit
they charge
not.
you without even giving notice.
No, there.
Like if-
no,
like
you
you
should get
put
an
your-
email from Apple.
Like you have to put your card on to get that free
Well,
3-day
I
trial.
think it's
You
because
do.
if your
Yeah.
if your Apple account is linked to your card, it would just link to your Apple account.
True,
Again, there
true.
would be confirmation, like whether it's if you have Face ID, you have to like double click the side button, or if it's you have to input your Apple ID
You have to put in
passcode.
your password, but
right?
like these, like my
But people
sister
don't know
has-
better.
No,
People don't know better.
and like man, if they get 10 kids to subscribe for 1 week before their parents catch on, that's
That's like
$640 clean and clear, literally for making a shit app that did
Yeah.
nothing basically. Now imagine you get 100 kids to do that. How much did it
Yeah.
cost you to develop this piece of shit app? You know, Ketchup Games does it like crazy. They
Big time.
they remask the exact same game,
Mhm.
and then they make ad money off of it. They make download money off of it. They make Instagram ad clicks off of it. It's they're predators, man. And I've tried to work out in my head some way that like ads like this can be outlawed, or not exactly outlawed, but if there's a way for the money that they're making to be restricted, especially on clicks and downloads, because it's just predatory, man. And it's ridiculous that they're even able to make money on such a small thing that any kid can do, because every kid's got Instagram now,
Mhm.
Facebook, whatever they have, I don't know.
Again, it's so accessible.
Yeah.
It's you don't even see parents giving their. You know how when we were younger, our parents to shut us up, they'd throw us like the keys, play with the keys,
Yeah,
make some noise. It'd be enough, or something stupid.
Yeah, yeah.
Now it's here. Throw the kid your phone.
Mm-hmm. And they're
they
consumed,
actually
man.
Look
They-
like husks of a human. Like when they're sitting in the grocery cart, with
Mhm.
like
Just
with
all
their
slumped.
fucking
Yeah.
drooling as they're watching Peppa Pig.
Yeah,
some shit,
yeah, yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So many memes of that.
Yeah, like it's just it's crazy, man. I don't know what the fuck we can do to fix this. I don't know if there's a solution, because like we could just be heading in one single direction.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
definitely
And it
headed.
doesn't look like we're coming to a halt anytime soon.
No, if anything, it's gonna increase even more.
Yeah.
In my opinion, at least, that's the day and age we live in. It's technology, right?
Mhm.
I think we've spoke about this in one of our previous episodes. We grew up with technology growing around us, but kids now, they grow up with technology already developed. So they're
Right.
growing up with just technology at their
Yeah.
fingertips from the second that they're born. And it's crazy because a lot of these kids don't know what they're getting themselves into, and a lot of
Mhm.
these parents aren't aware of what their what their kids are up to online
But they should
as well.
be. They should
should
be
be,
aware, because
definitely.
like they use the exact same technology, you know.
Mhm.
And fuck, man, like I can't even imagine being a parent and just having your credit card be billed fucking
$64.
yeah. Like
Like-
how crazy is that, man?
The fuck did you do?
Like my mom used to get pissed at me when I used to steal her card for Xbox Live.
Oh,
but,
dude, or the Microsoft points and everything.
Yeah, but like I stopped
took
that
work.
shit real
That
quick.
took work.
Yeah,
though.
that took fucking
that took hard
ingenuity,
work,
man.
dude. $20 for a PSN,
Yeah, we used to go to Max to get that shit.
Yeah.
all
you
the
know?
time.
Viva packs.
Yeah, but like now, like, what's the point of Microsoft for PSN cards? You know, there's no
No.
point, because
Just
these
throw your
credit cards
card.
are just
Credit
so easy.
Throw your card
And
on the thing.
is it-
PayPal.
Is it just me, or like before, like before there used to be a really big stigma with online shopping?
Yep.
And like putting your banking details on some website.
Like
Oh,
people,
yeah.
like people used to be scared.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Oh,
my
scared
mom
shitless.
is still scared shitless. Like whenever my sister orders something, which is every 2 fucking days.
Eyelashes.
Yeah, eyelash glue. Fucking who knows? You name it. But every time my sister orders something, or I order something, my dad he orders shit. My dad's accepted it by now, but every time we order something, like my mom has like a mini freak out, because she's like, "What are you doing? Put your shit on the internet, like this and that, and the other." She won't buy shit
Mm-hmm.
online, and I've been like, what the fuck you doing? Like, just buy it online. You know
Yeah.
what are you gonna go here for? You could just buy it online. Like,
That's a lot of the problem too. It's
yeah.
now we're seeing apps for grocery shopping too.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't
Yeah.
even have to leave your own house. You can stay home, and it's again, it's accessible to everybody, and it's convenient.
Yeah.
Let's say you're a mom or a dad, you're at home with the kid by yourself, and you need food. You just go on the app
Yeah.
instead of strapping your kid into the car seat, driving to the supermarket, having to deal with the kid while you're at the supermarket. You just order it to the house.
Well,
it's crazy.
they even have like pickup like you
Yeah.
can pick up your
Yeah,
groceries and
just
stuff like
pickups
Walmart.
too.
Walmart has that now. Where
Yeah.
you park your car and somebody comes out with a bunch of crates,
Mm-hmm.
has everything you had, you
Yeah.
already bought it,
Yeah, you
Put
pull
it-
up out front, they throw it in
Fortino's
the
does
trunk.
it too.
Yeah.
put it in your car, and you're on your way home. The
Yeah.
kid stays in the car, still watching his iPad.
Man,
Yeah, hey, that's exactly it too.
here in Canada, we don't have Postmates, but Postmates, like, you could order toothpaste. Like, you told
Yeah.
me that
Yeah.
once. You order fucking toothpaste,
Order
you
Chick-fil-A.
order toilet paper, fucking tampons, whatever you need, you know?
Anything in the world, man. Anything that a store is
Cowboy
gonna sell you.
boots.
Yeah,
Fuck.
man. They
Like, have you seen Wall-E?
Oh, that
no.
movie?
You haven't seen
no,
Wall-E?
bits
The
and
movie?
pieces.
Oh, yeah.
It's fu-
Wall-E's actually, it's fucking...
it's good.
It's fucking terrifying, man. Like, it's pretty dark because, like, the human society has advanced so far to the point where people aren't walking anymore. They're using, like, these fucking, like, pods that they just sit in and move around.
There's
And they
chairs,
kind of
right?
like wheelchairs, but they also have
They're
screens in
hover.
front of them.
They're like hovercraft.
and they hover,
chairs.
and they're all fat blobs and shit. And, yeah, that's just the direction we're heading in, man. Especially with the Mars rover dying or whatever. Like,
Oh.
the Mars rover is literally Wall-E, but
Hmm.
anyway.
I didn't know about that. And it died.
But shall we discuss this tattoo pedophile YouTuber extravaganza?
Peen
Fucking
fanatic.
What's his
Mhm.
name again? Something.
Jason
Romeo
Lacrosse.
Jason
I thought it was Remy.
Romeo Lacoste.
Romeo
Lacoste as in like the alligator.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
the-
like
like the
the French brand.
Yeah.
Fucking looks like one.
But yeah, for those who don't know, he's under some pretty heavy fire for some DMs that got leaked. And now people are starting to come out that he's dated in the past.
Who were 14 years old.
Yeah,
While he
exactly.
was an
19.
adult.
He was
19-year-old
19 when he was
19-year-old.
dating a 14-year-old girl. 14 or 15, she said she was at the time. This was in a live interview on Drama Alert.
I think that maybe we're misconstruing that. I thought that was just in 2016 he exchanged those.
Yeah, in
Messages.
2016 he exchanged those DMs,
Those DMs.
with these 14-year-old girls, but when he was 19 years old, which would have probably been like fucking
10 years.
2008 or some shit,
Yep.
a long time ago.
Mhm.
When he was 19, a girl came on Drama Alert and said on record that she dated him while she was 14 years old.
I see. So two separate incidents.
Yes.
Except that the
Yeah.
idea is now that even when he was 26, 27, he was still sending these
Yeah, there was
vile
it
messages.
was a group chat, dude. It was
Yeah,
it was
so that's the thing. It
They
was
called
more
themselves like Romeo's girls.
Romeo's
Romeo-
Fruit Cups.
Romeo's Fruit
Oh
Cups.
my
Something
God.
like
What?
that. Yeah, it was more of like a fan club, and he kind of handpicked two of them,
Yeah.
and they let him know that they weren't of age, because in one of the screenshots it says him asking, "Are you sure you don't want to wait till you're 18?"
Yes, and when I read that, I was like, okay, maybe like, you know, he's a tattoo artist. Maybe he was saying, are you sure you want to wait till you get your tattoo when you're 18?
Nope.
But no,
Keep
the
scrolling.
next fucking screenshot was him saying, "Oh, you're gonna get a tummy full of cum." Like, what? This is a 14-year-old girl,
Yeah.
man. What the fuck?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Not only is he like
What's wrong
offering
with
like
you?
sexual, like, I don't know, it's just, I don't know, it's gross, but he's also offering alcohol to them,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
just like it's, you can tell his intention there is not, it's not pure. He's looking
No,
to take
of course not.
advantage of someone.
Definitely
It's not to get a
man.
tattoo, that's for
and
sure.
Yeah, it's definitely
Yeah,
not to get a
fucking
tattoo.
definitely not, man. I don't know why I gave this guy the benefit of the doubt.
And
Well, I
um,
mean,
I really don't
his
know why.
his justification for it was like
he had
was
no
just-
justification.
His
man.
No,
justification
he
was
says,
he was just fresh into fame.
Yeah.
It was 3-4 years ago, and he wasn't
Yeah,
used to
exactly.
he wasn't used to girls coming on to him. But my guy, he's like they're 14,
They're
15 years
14.
old, and you know that even if they're 17 years old, you're 27, dude.
Like,
Like,
this
you can't be doing that.
Gotta get
this
your shit
guy
together.
just came on to defend himself on Drama Alert, and I've never seen someone so spineless in my whole life. Well, I didn't see a picture of him, but like the way he
his
was
audio
talking,
was there.
yeah, the way he was talking was just like, well, here's the thing. Keemstar would ask him like, okay, so are these allegations correct? Did you in fact DM 14-year-old girls saying inappropriate shit? And he's like, well, here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. Like, yes, I did do it, but I was in a different place at the time. I was in a different place.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter, man.
Yeah.
People are in fucking shitty places all the time, and they
Yeah.
don't go fucking DMing 14-year-old girls to put your cum in their tummies.
Yeah, and then 15 minutes later, he was
Motherfuckers.
saying that the messages were altered. So already his story starts
Yeah,
getting all
he's
twisted
flip
during the
flopping.
interview.
He also deleted his account.
He deleted
Yeah.
his Twitter
But
the
he
minute
said-
that this scandal broke.
He said it was for the purpose that he was getting hate.
Yeah,
He's
of
But of
getting
course
hate.
you're gonna
But
get fucking hate,
this
dude.
this fucking idiot in the very first 30 seconds of the interview.
Says he
calls
was
Keemstar
watching.
an
an
his-
asshole.
Yeah.
No, that, but like he literally goes,
I was watching your episode.
you guys, like, he says to Keemstar, he's like, but I'm just here to talk to you because you were saying all this shit on your previous video, and you can't even say that till it's been proven about me or
Yeah.
proved about me. I'm
And
like,
the guy
"What, man?"
and the
Like,
guy admits that he watched, like, he said, yeah, there's no proof. And he's like, I only watched about half of your video. And like in the second half of the video, he brings on the girl that he dated in the past. So
oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Who he also,
and
she claims that she was traumatized by
yeah,
him because
he
would
pissed
piss
on her.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
wanted to do
And
that.
this fucking idiot, instead of like taking accountability for his actions and manning up and saying, listen, yeah, I fucked up. I did this. He's like, well, she dated men that were much older than me when she was 14.
Mhm.
Like,
They should all be fucking charged too, man. That's not
Yeah,
helping
exactly.
your case.
So
Yeah,
get
they-
their names
know?
too, and we'll throw them in the
Exactly.
same. We'll throw them in
put
the
them
same
in the
bin as
fucking
you.
list.
Exactly.
He's gonna have to go knocking around the doors like the Jesus, and say that he's
fucking pederast.
pederast.
Once he
you
gets
know?
out of prison, and apparently, like his tattoo shop, rightfully so, his tattoo shop is getting a lot of like phone
Yeah.
calls from angry people.
You know this.
Oh yeah.
and it sucks. Can you imagine working all your life being like a tattoo artist? That's your dream. You
Mhm.
get a job at your dream studio, and now you're portrayed as this idiot because the
you are
owner
that
of the
idiot.
shop
Oh, you're
What goes-
speaking like for
Oh.
another employee.
exactly
Oh, I thought you were
goes
empathizing
and
with
does
him for a
something like
sec.
goes and does something like this. And
Yeah,
like,
Your
that'd be
clients are all
fucking-
lost.
That'd be disheartening, man.
Yeah,
And that
that's
could
not even their
definitely
fault.
like put a stint on you too, because you work for this guy. Like,
Mhm.
especially like in this day, like people would associate you with a fucking 28-year-old man who pisses on 14-year-old girls for sexual pleasure.
Mhm.
And this is really disgusting. Like
It is.
this I'd say is like a benefit of like this social media
Oh,
content
definitely.
because
Yeah.
now like people are getting exposed for the wrongdoings that they've committed,
Mhm.
and people are standing behind the victims because there are so many people who walk around on a daily basis with the traumatic experiences of sexual harassment or
Mhm.
sexual assault, and they walk around and they carry it on their shoulders and it goes unnoticed. But now with Twitter, it's becoming more apparent, and people should be held accountable for their actions.
Mhm.
Definitely.
And yeah, this guy is just fucking. There's a spineless little bastard, fucking spineless little bastard. What an idiot, man!
Mhm.
Yeah, and he said some.
I can't believe him.
If you guys check it out, like we said, basically a lot of the majority of the disgusting
Yeah.
shit that he was saying to these girls. But
Come in the
you'll
town.
find more. You'll find more online. But just to touch on the people who are working with him and how there may be that stint or the kind of demerit on their name now. As soon as one person comes out and basically says, "Oh, like what? Like say an employer or coworker of his or something." As soon as one person comes out maybe and says, "Yeah, I knew what he was doing," or he would sometimes make lewd remarks.
He's fucked.
Now automatically everyone else in there is definitely fucked because they probably knew too, even if they
yeah.
didn't, even if they didn't
They're
really
just
hear.
guilty by association at that point because they
Exactly.
knew and no one spoke up, and now everyone's speaking up. Yeah, I
Mhm.
see what you mean.
Jules and I were talking on the way up to the unfinished basement actually about what the appropriate punishment is for these fucking sickos. And Jules, if you
Genital
wanna
mutilation.
Yeah.
Make them eunuchs.
make them fucking eunuchs, man. Honestly, like what else?
Jail time.
What else can be
with
done?
all
These
the other
fucking
pedophiles.
sick perverts, and then they
Yeah.
get out, say 10 years later, 5 years later, 6 months later,
Mm-hmm.
just fucking chop their dicks off, man.
Man, they deserve it. And if they want pleasure, they can finger their fucking empty hole.
Yeah.
That's
No,
what
no,
they
we
can
have to
do.
remove the prostate as well, so they get zero pleasure.
Yeah, man. But
That
that
hurts. But fuck
yeah,
them.
fuck it. Who cares? don't
Regardless, they need
deserve a
to
prostate.
increase the jail sentence.
Oh, for sure.
They do, because whether it's what is it, the longest it could be is like what, 10 years? If it's like
I don't know what the max is.
regardless, I genuinely think something like that should be close to life.
Or must
Because
be-
if you don't know,
Dude,
like that's not appropriate and it's not tolerated, then you deserve to be put away.
Pedophiles and rapists get let out after like 10 years.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they just roam the streets.
Some sooner. And what I'm
And-
afraid of is this guy is he's A, famous, B, he has money. So whether whether he gets sentenced or potentially he doesn't, if he does get sentenced, he could get like a 6-month sentence or something like that.
Yeah, you can be
And that
let off
doesn't-
easy.
That doesn't justify his actions.
Mm-mm.
It doesn't, because now we've seen these two fangirls come out
Mhm.
and release the DMs. One of his ex-girlfriends has come out and said this. How many more people do you think this has happened to? This happened from the age, I would think at least, from the age of 19, because he dated that girl when she was 14 or 15 when he was 19 years old.
Mhm.
And then these DMs get released of him speaking to these girls when he's 27 years old.
Well,
So there's a big gap in between there, and it's
we're a
like,
lot.
what happened in between there too?
Yeah. Well, let me ask this: a couple of questions about the case. Do you guys know if or what state he's operating out of?
California.
California.
dude.
Okay, so right there in itself, very liberal state. So the odds of him getting like some nutty sentence, I'd say, isn't exactly too high. Not only that, there's no, or as of right now at least, there's no proof that he went and did these things to these
Yeah.
girls, except for when he was 19 and did it to the 14 and 15-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that the odds of him getting a sentence that is just and rightful, it's not very high. I think he's gonna get let off with something pretty soft,
should-
or at least with the current evidence against him.
We should create an offshore state, lure him there, tell him to tattoo us, arrest him, and make him a eunuch. That's what we should do.
Yeah,
Because
fucking
this guy's
citizens
actually
arrest.
a fucking scumbag, man. He does not deserve to be walking freely.
Dude,
But not
we don't
only
You
even
lost
need,
that
um,
right when you pissed on a 14-year-old girl.
Like
We
he
don't-
deals with people
don't know how-
every single day too. Like this is someone who needs to know how to be personable. Like, you need to be careful, especially in a tattooing environment. If you have someone laying on your table, you can't go up behind them and start groping them.
Mm-hmm,
Like you need to know. And
It's probably
if he knew in the tattoo studio, why does he not know that when you're outside of your tattoo studio, you can't be doing these things? So
Yeah.
and he comes out and says that in his interview too. He says, "Oh, I'm the most respectful person.
Yeah.
I'm tattooing when I'm tattooing these girls. I don't touch them. I make sure they're treated with the utmost respect."
Oh, you
Okay,
know
but
me.
what
I'm
about-
such a nice guy?
Yeah.
This, that, and the
Yeah, and
other.
it's like, no,
Fuck you.
clearly-
Go to fucking jail and get your balls chopped off and get fucked in the ass by some big cue ball.
Yeah, clearly nobody knows
Yeah.
who he is except for himself, because now he's saying even like he doesn't know if his girlfriend's gonna leave him and stuff like that. His girlfriend's 22, by the way. There's no issue with that
No,
because
no.
I'm just saying like she's a little bit younger too.
dude, it's in the
So
relationship.
it's like if she's got to feel some type of way about that. Because
Yeah, for sure. Because she's still, man, it's still relevant to her. Like I
Yeah.
can think back to when we were in grade 9, and at 14 you're in grade 9.
Mhm.
Imagine like your friends, just oh fuck, I just bit my tongue. Imagine being in a circle of your friends or like your classmates, like female classmates in this case, obviously. At 14 years old in the 9th grade, man, literally still learning like basic grammar and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Pissing on.
And still learning like just basic math. Like it's fucking crazy, man. I can't even think of what that even looks like, what that
Yeah.
is.
These
You know
are
what
people
I mean?
who aren't even fully developed yet either.
No, man, they're nowhere near fully. Dude, they still got fucking 4 or 5 years worth of development left. And even at 18, man, like, well, no, 18 is legal age, but even at 17, man, like, you're still a stupid kid. Not to say that the second you turn 18, you're all of a
You're a
sudden
genius.
different. Yeah, but like, you're still fucking, like, you're still just a kid, man. You're still in high school. You know,
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
people are 17 and still in the 11th grade. Like,
Man, and this is so damaging to them as a person.
Yeah, I was
down
gonna-
the line.
I was gonna
Mhm.
say that.
So damaging, and like studies have shown that people who commit these sexually deviant acts have had them done to them at some point in their childhood.
yeah, that's
So-
a typical like trait.
Yeah, so like
if you can call it
this
that.
this is just a perpetual thing, you
Mhm.
know? Like people, I'm not saying that every single victim of child abuse or sexual child abuse from a young age is going to turn out to be a pederast, but like it's just these things will perpetuate themselves as long as people do it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Man, some nutty SJWs would come out and argue that even the kids who are victims should be castrated.
No way.
No.
You're lying.
No, man, obviously not.
Okay.
Don't say those things.
Fuck.
We have to end it here.
Dude, but I have a question. Like, what goes like in his mind? What is he thinking? Like
Nobody knows.
Well,
He's just
what
sick.
he justified it as was that he has a sexual appetite like everybody else,
For
and he
younger.
felt the need to fulfill it. But he didn't say that it was for younger kids because it was obviously exposed. But he basically justified his actions by saying that he has a sexual appetite like everyone else, and he can do what he wants pretty much,
Man, that's
which is just fucking wrong.
it's gross.
Mhm.
It really is.
that's actually the argument that like you see on YouTube sometimes, like these stupid videos of people of like little congregations, small groups of people basically defending pedophiles because it's their sexual preference, and it's like basically they compare it to like homosexuality or something. There's nothing they can do about it because
But that's
like
completely different, man.
yeah, no, of course I'm not making
No,
the
I know
comparison,
that, but like these, like, how could you sympathize with a fucking pederast,
No.
man?
there's
I
nothing
don't- I
there's
don't
nothing
know-
to be sympathetic
I don't know
to.
how anyone would be able to justify something like that with it making sense to me or a lot of people. It's disgusting. It's frowned upon, and you should just know not to do it. You
Mhm.
should know whether you're in a situation where it's happened to you before, and that's why it's repeating itself.
Mhm.
Whether you're mentally ill, it really it doesn't matter because again, we live in a day and age where everything's at our fingertips. If you don't know something's illegal and wrong, look it up.
Yeah, if there's a-
Figure it out for yourself. See what the punishment is. Because if that's not enough justification for you not to do something, then you should go see somebody.
Mhm.
I think it's also kind of like, it's like really when you're in the heat of the moment, it's like, is this right? Am I seriously
Yeah,
gonna
of
piss
course.
on this 13-year-old girl?
You know, again, you're especially in his scenario. You're an adult. You're old enough to own a business. You're old enough to do this art on people's bodies.
Vote.
You're old enough to
Yeah.
vote.
They should take that fucking away from
Yeah.
him.
You're
this
old
gonna
enough to
ruin-
drive. You're
or
old enough to
anything.
drink.
Is this
Listen,
gonna ruin my reputation? That's think
Yeah.
of, like, dude, you've worked so hard. Like, you've literally come from he says he's come from a hard place, so I'm guessing the slums or whatever. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know his
we don't know his
situation,
situation,
It
but
doesn't matter what
But
anybody
it doesn't
says.
fucking matter.
It doesn't justify
yeah,
it.
and like the way you act with anybody, you have to like think to yourself, is this the way I want to treat another human being?
Mhm.
Do I want this treatment inflicted upon me? Definitely fucking not. No one's get pissed on.
Yeah.
Well, some people like to get pissed
Yeah.
on, but those are consenting adults, not 14-year-old girls.
No.
And,
kids,
um,
too. What about the kids too? If he has kids, like, does he want his kids?
Yeah,
to,
he said, yeah, man, like I got 3 girls. I got 3 girls with 3 sisters in my house. Like I can't even imagine that shit happening to them.
The
well,
fuck?
yeah, you fucking can. Yeah, yeah, you can because you do it to girls their same age.
Yeah.
Probably did to them too. We don't fucking know.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, his
But,
sisters are 14, 15, 16
yeah.
years old.
Wow.
All
Um,
within like that
That's scary.
age range. All
That's
3
scary,
of them.
dude. That's scary for your, like, a sister to
Yeah.
like see your brother
Yeah, can you imagine something like that
Hearing
coming
that
out and you
at a
were
dinner table.
living under the same roof as this guy,
Mhm,
and now
mhm.
you're that age, and it's like okay, like it's
Should I be worried?
yeah, it's
Yeah, no, honestly,
like,
though, like, am I
genuinely,
next?
it's like okay, I don't want to sit beside him at dinner.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. Like it's just it's so wrong in so many different ways, and it's I don't know. It's mind blowing to me that people still don't understand that it's wrong.
what is it about LA that everyone's just running around fucking raping people?
I
what
think
is
it's
it?
the weather.
Is it the weather? Because like
Everybody's all happy.
Or Rodeo.
yeah,
Rodeo Drive.
rodeo like it's got there's something in the air there, man. I don't know if it's the burritos or
The
or what,
tacos.
but like this new shit that's going on with the Warner Bros CEO.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is like a very similar situation. Obviously, it involves some sexual misconduct. It's not on 14-year-old girls, but it is on actors who want to gain roles, and in exchange for these roles, this guy Kevin Sugihara had basically requested sexual favors in return for roles in films. And I just want to contrast this situation with Mr. Lacrosse here.
Lacrosse.
Yeah, fuck that. His name is Lacrosse. He doesn't deserve a last name.
Hey man, lacrosse Lacrosse is Canada's national sport, dude. He doesn't deserve that name either.
That's true. Okay, let's call him
Mr. Fucking
Eunuch.
Dickhead, Mr. Cocksucker, Mr. Eunuch, anything
Yeah.
but, anything that's not nice.
Piss monkey.
So
Yeah, exactly.
uric acid. Let's just call him that. So this guy Kevin Tsujihara, just like complete, like his actions again, gross, disgusting, wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But he at least has a spine and acknowledges that his mistakes, quote, were inconsistent with the company's leadership expectations and could impact the company's ability to execute going forward. So he stepped down from his role.
Hmm.
Now here he's taking accountability, but still, like, what the fuck is going on in LA, man? Why is everyone going around raping people?
Dude, all that is right there is the difference between someone with good lawyers and a PR rep.
That's exactly
Yeah.
it. Like
No.
I just thought as I was saying that, I was like, never mind. This guy doesn't fuck mean any of this. This is the lawyers of Warner Bros.
Yeah, telling them.
But
telling them what
again,
to
yeah,
say.
this guy's actually a scumbag. What am I saying? Redacted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
Redacted.
lot of
Redacted
people.
with that.
It's a lot of people with power, is what it is. Again, CEO of Warner Brothers. Back to Romeo. This guy is YouTube famous, Instagram famous for his shop and his work. So he knew he had this leverage, and it's like, okay, well, people want to be associated with me. People need something from me. In the
Mhm.
Warner Brothers CEO case, then I may as well abuse my power, for lack of better word. Really,
Yeah,
it's.
definitely.
I think that's what the issue is. Really,
Yeah.
like especially in like LA.
Yeah.
In
Power is really corrupting. Man.
it is because now we're seeing, especially in the past. Who was that?
Weinstein.
Eric Ryan.
Harvey.
Harvey. I heard.
So, same scenario, and we're seeing
Damn
it
it.
as a reoccurring thing now. And obviously, there's the whole dark side of it, where everybody can see the negative from it. This person's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe they would do something like this. This person deserves to be in prison, etc. But I lost my train of thought. Fuck.
Yeah, I think that we've beaten on. I mean, there could be unlimited levels of beating towards these
Mhm.
people, but I mean, we've been on the topic for a while.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I think that
we've
we got some.
We've established that
Pedos are
Sexual-
gross.
Yeah.
sexual predators, sexual misconduct is punishable by genital mutilation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's what we're calling for. TUNFB 2020.
Yeah. Fuck
So-
yeah, man.
Oh,
We're all
fuck
getting
that.
elected
Yeah.
in this next one, man. But Pete, Eric Weinstein, I think is his brother.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I think
Okay,
that's
okay.
maybe where you got that name
Didn't
from.
he go on the Joe Rogan podcast?
Eric Weinstein.
Yeah.
Ah,
I thought they
yeah,
were good
he did. He
friends.
did.
Are they
But I
Eric
don't think they're
Weinstein
related.
did. So maybe you guys
Let's
are right.
see.
Maybe,
Eric
maybe because
Weinstein.
I heard, maybe I was watching the podcast and then that name popped.
That
up.
Yeah,
very well
he's
could
friends
be
with
it.
Joe Rogan.
I don't think he's related, unless Joe explains it in the description that not related to Harvey.
Oh, this guy's definitely related.
Is he?
No,
His
no,
brother
sibling
Brett
Weinstein.
Weinstein.
Yeah.
So they're
So
not
they're not.
related.
And children Zev Weinstein.
Sucks to have that last name.
Yeah, and Zev
Yeah,
is
man. Imagine like, oh, you're a Weinstein,
Yeah.
fucking pig.
want to fuck actors and actresses.
Yeah, man.
Well, I mean, that's all right if you want to fuck actors and actresses, but
But
And
at
put 'em in
least
not
do it
not by
consensually.
leveraging. Yeah,
Guys,
exactly.
consensual.
Of course. Yes, absolutely. I was
Hunger
not.
Games?
I was
Doesn't even
not,
it doesn't even have to be out of love, as
no.
long as it's consensual.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything's all fine, and make sure of age as well.
Mm.
That's a big red flag
Yeah.
if they're not of age, Romeo.
Pissing on 14-year-old girl.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, but,
But,
what do we got? What do we got next? What's on your minds, boys?
The New Zealand shooting I want to talk about.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Unspeakable
Mhm.
tragedy.
It is.
It is a tragedy, and it speaks volumes. We live in Canada. Gun laws are a little bit different than the United States. New Zealand, 24 hours after the mass shooting, changed their gun law.
Yeah, to the submachine gun, right? Or like
24
Yeah,
hours.
no, they banned assault rifles.
They banned. No, I think it was submachine. I think it was not. I think it was only submachine
Mm.
guns. But yeah, assault rifles in
Yeah.
general, like a
Yeah, like
Power-
heavier grade guns than
Heavier grade
pistols.
guns.
I
Military
guess.
grade guns.
Yeah.
And it took them 24 hours to realize that. And now I'm seeing a lot of people, whether it's on Twitter, on Reddit, stuff like that, they're complaining how the states haven't stepped up. It's been how many mass shootings, how many school shootings, concert shootings.
good old Donald.
There's like a considerable number that actually happen annually. Just not all are always covered
Recorded.
with like this crazy mass coverage
Yeah.
on news networks.
and
but-
nothing has been done.
Sorry,
Yeah.
And
boys.
it's people complaining that they don't want their gun rights taken away, and if
Mhm.
anything, they should increase them so that we can fight against these people who are attempting these massacres and these. And to me, that makes no sense.
Well, how it works in America, their gun law, I think, is the Second Amendment. I want to say,
It's
second
in
or
their
fifth.
constitution.
It's in their constitution. So the idea is that
The
in
right to bear
17
arms.
17 the right to bear arms in 1776 or whatever it was, 1777 that the United States was founded. Their constitution was written, and at the time the guns were basically stuff like muskets,
Yep.
like not these high-end fully automatic fucking machine
M4A1s
guns.
and
Exactly. So the idea is that it was the United States was built upon this idea that you have the right to bear arms because in the event that a dictator should become president or people try to take your property or overtake the country with force, the idea is that you have the right to bear arms so you can defend yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, the application of that is a little different now, considering that guns have developed at a
Rapid.
Large
at a rate
scale.
that, large scale,
It's
exactly.
one of the
Large
biggest
scale.
industries in
America.
like
There-
in the global economy.
Yeah.
Like
There are more
100%.
guns in the United States than people. There are 113% gun rate relative to the population.
That's
So-
insane.
So
So each person in the U.S. has more than one gun.
just over, yeah, it's
Theoretically
like 1
speaking.
point.
Yeah,
They'd be
yeah.
like 1.2 guns or
Yeah.
something,
Pistol,
even less.
yeah.
But and that's obviously not the case because some people have like hundreds of guns.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
mathematically, that's what it would look
Yeah.
like. So the idea there is that they have the right to defend themselves, and that's what like the NRA, National Rifle Association and stuff. That's what they ride on is the fact you have to be able to defend yourself in the event that there is a rise of some sort of dictator, some sort of overtake. That's it's basically just to defend yourself against your own government. That's the right that you're given. And when it comes to gun laws, I mean, me personally, I'm not sure that they should be entirely banned, but there should definitely be.
a restriction.
Yeah, no, and there should
Yeah.
be
Like they need to take some sort of action though, because the way that New Zealand has handled this, it's like
It's proper.
only it's
But
proper
they-
and
they
it's
hear
human, man. Like
people, yeah.
they want to care about their citizens, but in the States it seems like it's more of a like their reluctancy to change these laws doesn't, or it falls in line with their want to keep the numbers high for gun sales and
That's what
ammunition sales.
I was going to talk about that too.
You know,
It's-
like if they were to change these laws, it would definitely impact these businesses. It
L-
would definitely
job
impact
loss.
their jobs and their overall economy. So they're protected. They're protecting their own interests, and and it's just capitalist greed, man.
Well, you know what, man? I mean,
Not to
yeah,
sound like a
a
fucking
lot of
hippie,
things
but-
can be attributed to capitalist greed, I think. But the thing is that you can't. I read here that 42% of America. This is posted on June 28th, 2018. 42% have unfavorable views of the NRA. That makes 58% of the people who are involved in this poll, who have the opposite favorable. I'm sure that some people were like, no opinion or in the middle, whatever.
Mhm.
But let's just call it 58%. I can't see what the further statistic is. But the fact is that that's not capital greed, man. That's what the people want. You know, so if 58% of your country is saying,
Well,
No, we're all
how
right with
accurate
guns.
is that?
well, it's
survey,
obviously a
you know?
select. It's a what do they call
Like
it?
I'm
a-
sure if
it's like
every
a
single
selected poll or like
Yeah, that's right. Like only certain.
only certain people like
Look,
talked
it
about.
reads here: Americans with favor or mostly favorable. So that's a good indicator. 88% of Republicans and 24% of Democrats. So basically, give it a 50-50 divide in the United States. And now that and 88% of like, well, their population is 330 million. Let's call it 300 million just for the sake of easier math. Divide that in two. Now you got 150 million. 88%, call it like 140 million people in the United States who are in favor of guns, who are in favor of the NRA. That's not even just guns. Like some people might like guns, but not exactly the NRA. So it's impossible to take that right away when you
Mhm.
have literally
a
145
lot
million
of people
people.
want it, but
Yeah.
I'm sure if there was a way to reach every single citizen, especially in the wake of a mass shooting that's all over the news, I'm sure that the numbers would show that people don't want guns. But then again, I'm not American. We're not American. Here it's very different in Canada.
Yeah.
New
I-
Zealand's very different.
I really don't think that you're right about that, man. I think that even
I don't know,
with
man.
these,
I don't think people want their own people getting killed.
no, they don't, man. But they still want to be able to defend themselves, and they still want to be able to have that liberty. That's what the United States is predicated
freedom.
upon, right? Is that
Freedom and all.
that freedom to do whatever you want within reasonable bounds,
Mhm.
right? And like, man, like I mean, me personally, if I don't know if I would own a gun if I were living in the United States, but
I'd be intrigued.
I think
definitely
yeah,
would.
No. I think that there's a good chance that I said I don't know for sure if I'd own one, but if I was living in the U.S., man, I think there's a pretty damn good chance that I'd own a gun. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that I'd carry it around with me and have it in a holster like people
Mhm.
down in Texas or something, but I think
Get
I'd
off my
definitely own
lawn.
one because
I'm
it's my
carry.
right.
I carry.
Yeah, man.
Get off
'cause
my lawn, I'll
it's
shoot you.
it's my right to do so, though, and
Yeah.
God forbid you ever have to use that weapon. But if you do, it's available there for you. Not only that, but fuck, man, guns are fun. You know what I mean? I'm not saying to use them in a dangerous way or in a way where you're gonna go out and shoot people, obviously, but just to use them in general, like at a shooting range or something
Yeah.
like that. Guns are like they're
Yeah, people
They're
shoot
interesting.
for sport.
for sport. Yeah.
And
Mhm.
like it's a right and all that, but I don't know, man. I just don't agree. I think that they should place some sort of regulations on it in a similar way. Just like you can defend yourself with a pistol or a knife or whatever. You know, you don't need a military grade assault rifle in your house.
Mhm.
You really don't. Like
Let alone two.
like what's the threat of your government right now? Well, there is a threat, maybe you could argue.
Well-
but like, man, you just really don't need an assault rifle.
But now, what if somebody's coming into your house with an assault rifle?
That's
Well,
a
then
di-
if
that's a
these
different story.
regulations are put in place, then it would make it a lot harder for them to have that assault rifle.
Sure, a lot harder. But then criminals, there's always a black market.
Yeah,
There's always
there
ways
is.
to
Yeah.
get your hands on something. Now all of a sudden, you got your dick in your hands with
Mhm.
a little pea shooter,
Yeah,
while this
fuck.
man's coming at you with a fucking
Well, then
7.88 millimeter
that's just-
AK-47, fucking murking you.
that's just entropy,
murking
man.
the entire
That's just random chaos.
Mhm.
Yeah,
at
absolutely. But
that
it
point,
exists,
but
man.
it does exist.
Yeah, it
and
exists. Look at drugs, even for example. With drugs, there's a regulation on them as well, but there are still drug
They
dealers.
still get smuggled, dude.
There are still drug dealers.
Yeah.
So for example, we live in Canada. We live in Ontario.
Got legal pot.
It's legal here, but there are still people getting marijuana illegally,
Mhm.
and there are still people selling marijuana illegally. So, I don't think by getting rid of the assault rifles, they're gonna necessarily get rid of the assault rifles.
No,
if you know
of
what I mean.
course.
They're still gonna be around,
100%.
yes, but like you said, I do believe they will be harder to get.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people could argue that it's also going to be harder to defend yourself against someone who was able to get one of them. which,
Absolutely.
I do see that side of the argument.
And let me ask this: at this point in time, what steps do you take? How do you go about taking these guns from these people?
It's
I
tough.
have no
Okay.
fucking
It's-
clue,
it's
man.
tough.
Impossible.
I have no
because
fucking clue.
What
By
does
the-
it take for somebody to hide one?
But by the
And-
time you
and-
get to house,
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
literally by the
Yeah.
time you get to each house, and like it will take more than
It would take hundreds of years, man.
hundreds of years.
And dude, the only way to incentivize people would say maybe be like, okay, you you hand in to the government your fucking M4,
Yeah.
and then we'll give you $1 value for it. But fuck, man,
Who the fuck wants to do that?
And who wants to do that? And who's gonna pay for that, man? The
Yeah.
government can't pay for
Yeah.
that.
No.
Well, look.
They're already down.
Americans are very in favor of their civil liberties, so it's going to
Mhm.
obviously be a big battle for them to relinquish these civil liberties, especially in regards to guns, because it's such a controversial topic. But I think the only way to solve it is if mental health is the
Examined.
stigma is taken off, and it's more like mental health care is more readily available. That's the only
Mhm.
way, because most of these fucking school shooters and mass
They're
shooters,
bullied.
not only are they bullied, but they got all kinds of mental issues.
And even
Well,
if they
then-
don't, they claim it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the thing.
exactly.
They
That's
claimed
right,
it for
yeah.
the New Zealand shooter too. They claimed
And,
that
like-
he was picked on. He was chubby and he was picked on in high school and stuff
Well,
like
you
that,
know
and
what,
that
I
caused him
was-
to do it. But that's
I
again,
was picked on because I'm short.
yeah,
all my
it's
life.
it's not a reason.
Still to this day, it doesn't make me want to go and
Grab
do
an
something I'm gonna
AK-47 and
regret.
just-
It doesn't.
Yeah, but
It's-
there's something deeper than just saying I was being picked on.
Yeah.
You know?
Well-
like that festers and
But
changes
he
your
did
brain
it-
chemistry.
He did it almost like a troll. If you listen to the video,
Yeah.
he's saying stupid shit.
I
like,
didn't hear what he was
saying
saying.
stupid shit like subscribe to PewDiePie
Are you fucking joking?
while he's killing these people.
See, that is not the mark of someone who has just simply been bullied.
No, absolutely not.
And
That
like
isn't- that is
he
someone
took,
that is
and even
insane.
Joe Rogan was saying this on one of his podcasts. Like he did take like this incentive of like a troll, and he thought he was like bringing a rise to all of these people who share
Mhm.
the same interest as him and trying to meme his way through the entire process.
That's what it was like. He was almost like trying to make it a meme.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like if you can't differentiate a meme and what you're about to do, like yes, there are
Yeah.
mental issues there, and it's not because you were called chubby.
Mm.
It's because, dude, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
You gotta get
and-
yourself checked.
And again, like Juice said, mental health, there needs to be treatment more readily available and
Yeah.
more affordable at that, if not free, because
Mhm.
people can't go for consultations without spending thousands of dollars. People can't go and see therapists and psychiatrists
Like
without
you have
paying.
a cold or a flu, you can't
Yeah.
just walk into a
You
walk-in
can't,
and
and
be like,
it-
"Yo,
it's
I'm
all-
feeling fucking
yeah.
retarded."
It's
right
all
now.
out of pocket, and it's like even if you're a younger kid and you feel like you're going through these problems, well, you know what? In our case in Canada, let's say my parents aren't covered. They're not covered for this insurance plan.
Mhm.
Well, now you can't go and get the treatment that you need without paying all this money out of pocket, and it makes a lot of people kind of revert from treatment and
That's
just
true,
trying to,
yeah.
I'll take care of
Yeah.
myself. I'll take care of myself.
Yeah.
And then something like
Definitely.
this happens, and it's like, oh, mental health.
Yeah.
But-
well, there should be maybe some sort of like on mental health, there should be definitely some sort of like check, as you mentioned before. There should definitely be some sort of check when somebody goes for a gun license, they go to purchase a gun. You should
Mhm.
have some sort of
Some screening. man.
screening,
Like,
thank you,
gotta
that's
be,
the
it's
word.
got to
You
be
should be
more in depth
screened.
Like-
than signing papers.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
really
and
does have
showing
to
your
be.
ID and proving that you're not a criminal. Because
Yeah.
man, you're not a criminal until you're a criminal.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like hypothetically, like right now, I'm not a criminal, but fuck, man, maybe 5 years from now, I can resort to crime. Hypothetically, if this is the United States, go buy a gun. I wasn't a criminal prior to this, but now,
Yeah,
fuck, man, I want to go
exactly.
shoot some shit up. I want to rob something. I'm in
Yeah.
hard times, and now I have a gun, and it was perfectly
Yeah.
fine.
And like, if ultimately Americans don't want to revoke their right to bear arms and their right to carry down the streets of Texas, well then, you know what? Fucking get some more psychiatrists and evaluate the people who go and buy guns.
Mhm.
Because that, if you don't want to take one route, you have to take another. Like, action needs to be taken,
Yep.
Yeah.
or else this shit isn't gonna stop happening.
No, it's not.
And we won't like there's so many ways that we're progressing, like we touched upon earlier with technology and shit, but this is one that is not progressive at all.
No,
But-
it's not, because there's a Bell Let's Talk Day, and everyone who pretends they have mental illness comes on and says, "Oh, Bell Let's Talk." Like, these are not people that are supporting the cause. A lot
Yeah.
of these people are doing it for lack of a better term, the clout.
Yeah, no, man.
No,
Honestly,
right.
like, and not everyone who posts Bell Let's
And that's-
Talk. Like
that's
Oh,
not
is-
definitely,
they're not
definitely
posing
not.
to.
Definitely.
But a lot of them are just doing it just so they can, so that
Get
somebody sees that
clicks.
they get the click, and now they're a part of this. You know, they're a
Yeah.
part of this bigger thing, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, you think you're sticking it to the man. Oh yeah, man. You know, Bell's donating 5 cents now because I tweeted this.
Yeah, but it's a bigger problem than that.
Yeah.
And people fail to see past that, because outside of, for example, Bell Let's Talk Day, how many times, even for us at this table, how many times a week, how many times a year do you talk about mental illness? Not enough.
Not very much, man.
No.
Not very much, because it's not
It's
broadcasted.
saneism.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah,
The
that's a real
stigma
thing, man.
around
Yeah.
mental health issues.
And these are people with real problems, and they need real help. So I think, not that saying anything on the podcast is going to make a change, but change does need to be made.
Yeah.
And it'll definitely be for the better, because you can't go wrong. Yes, it's going to cost governments lots of money, but this is something you want to put. It's like education. It's something you want to put your money towards,
Mhm.
because it's just going towards the well-being of your community, the well-being of your country.
But then it also goes to what's the solution for, like, you can't just drug people up either.
No,
You know?
definitely not.
Oh,
But
man.
even
So it's
some
like
people just
there's-
look for somebody to speak to.
Yeah, that's true. That's
right?
very
And
true.
you
Yeah.
can't get that. Oh, I have to pay this dude $1,000 for 2 sessions just to have someone to speak to.
Yeah.
No, I'd rather keep to myself.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah, like, and it's not like you know, some crazy person goes to buy a gun license, and then during their screening process, if this would be set up, during their screening process, the doctor recognizes that there's something seriously wrong with this person,
Mm-hmm.
and they just say, okay, fuck it, we'll just give him a bunch of Prozac and send him on his way. That should not be the way that they go about it. If they see that there's something seriously wrong with someone, they need to put them in an institution.
Yep.
And not only for like the benefit of everyone else, but for the benefit of themselves.
Yeah.
You know, people. Fuck it. Like I say to you guys all the time, like when I'm not feeling, in a high mood or I'm in a low mood, I'm depressed or whatever. Like, I'll tell you guys, 'cause you guys are my fucking therapists. You know what, man? Like I'm serious, because I don't have I'm not covered. I can't go to a fucking therapist to speak my problems. But
I see what you're saying.
but yeah, like talking to you guys really helps me
Mm.
get through whatever. So the stigma needs to be dropped, and people just need to speak about how they're feeling. You know.
Mhm.
Man, if that stigma being dropped, or if there's some sort of like, if we're able to change the narrative, I guess,
Mhm.
then as soon as that's dropped, man, then a lot of people who are in trouble, then like, you know, and they're suffering from mental illness. I mean, that's not to say something like schizophrenia or stuff. Then you genuinely do need like real
Mhm.
help. But
Mhm.
I mean, just like for, you know, if you're not feeling well, if you're down in life in general, if that stigma is dropped, you're so much more likely to open up to your buddies, you know, or like your friends, family, whatever it may be.
Mhm.
And for us, obviously, we're all tight here, and we know that we can approach one another with whatever it is that we would like to approach one another with.
Mhm.
And that's important. It's good for us,
Mhm.
but not everyone has that.
Mhm.
And it could largely be attributed to that stigma, I think.
100%. My foot's asleep.
Well, that's the worst. Yeah, I see you kind of
Fuck.
struggling over there, moving around and stuff. Honestly,
Fuck.
my ass cheeks hurt right
Yeah,
now.
dude, my ass is fucking killing me.
Dude, this is the first time I've experienced that in the Tunf B.
Oh,
So
every
be-
episode. I got a bony ass, so I'm struggling here
What are we at?
every week.
An hour 50.
But anybody chair sponsors? We're looking for some. We're looking
please.
for some chairs for the unfinished basement.
Some
Oh, yeah.
office
Yeah,
chairs.
chuck some chairs our way.
Yeah,
just
man.
some
Throw them
chairs
right at
our
us, man.
way.
Fucking aim to kill me. I'll duck and dodge and then fucking pick that up and
Oh,
take it for
fuck
myself.
that! I'm catching it.
Yeah.
I don't want anything happening to it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I want that shit being destroyed.
Yeah, by all means. If you made it this far into the episode, you'll get a little shout out on our next one. We're pretty much trending every week now.
Yeah, we are.
on the new and noteworthy
Fuck yeah,
sections.
man. We've been
fucking
on it.
trendy,
We've been
man.
on it. We've fucking been on it. Comedy, news and politics, and then games and hobbies.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, guys, I'm feeling really good about this episode.
Yeah.
You know, the listeners, they've been demanding more debate. I think we had a healthy debate.
Yeah.
You know, we had some casual conversation. This has been a good podcast, and I'm proud of you guys. I love you guys. This is so fun.
It is, man.
It's amazing.
Yeah, no,
Like,
we're
just-
doing well.
Smell your mic. Oh,
Dude,
so
I like-
new,
I
so
like giving you-
fresh.
I love giving you guys all faces. Like when some shit, like you hear something, like when Lou was fucking playing around with it, I just look at Jules and I'm like, ooh,
Yeah, we have these mic stands that we're using. They're very
fucking what?
there you go. They're very metally and springy.
Yeah.
So anytime one of us touches one, you hear that little spring. Yeah, there it is.
That guy.
You hear
Yeah.
that, and the thing is that it could be the slightest touch of your elbow or knee, and when your ass is hurting, you gotta adjust,
gotta
man.
move, you
Or
gotta
when your
move.
foot's asleep, or when you gotta take a piss, you know. And
We
that
gotta get. Should we get shock mounts? Should we do that? Pull up Amazon.
Somebody pull
See
it
what
up.
shock mounts look like.
I don't think they'll fit these mics because they're like they're not.
What am I
these
searching? Just
But
Yeah.
it's not the
fancy,
issue.
Shock mounts?
fancy dildo
It's
mics.
not the issue of the mic. I don't think a shock mount would fix that because it's the arm itself. It's so
Mm.
long and skinny, so there's not really much
Yeah.
support in the actual arm
Yeah, but
itself.
what the shock mount does is you'll throw it on,
Mhm.
and whatever tap that happens, it absorbs that before any sound can get
It's,
into the mic.
like it's suspended pretty much.
Yeah.
By like
I see.
wires and shit.
Ah, okay,
physics
so it's
and
not. This
whatnot.
won't any longer be attached to this. Is that the idea?
No, it will be, but it'll be in
Yeah.
a little holster with
Right.
with stuff around it that kind of it'll absorb any shock.
It's
Yeah,
like
it's like
it's a separate
bungee. It's like
attachment.
little bungees
I see.
interweaved in like this
Oh
little
fuck!
web.
There was an
Got
arm.
it.
There was an arm that has a shock mount already.
Yeah, but we gotta make sure it fits the
Yeah,
mics because
it-
I have a shock
those
mount. It
ones don't
doesn't fit the
fit.
mic.
No, I'm just
Mhm.
saying. Yeah.
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 But
But
I'd like to talk a little bit about Brexit because
Yeah.
we're in crazy times right now. I think in the UK, and I'm currently taking a European class on the European Union. I took a class with the same prof, different class but same prof.
Hans Locker.
No, not Hans Locker. I have a class with him this term though. Shout out to Professor Heather McRae. I mean, you can find her online and such, so I'm sure it's not an issue that I'm
Rate my
using
prof.
her name. Yeah,
How do you
can-
spell her?
Heather McRae. She's got a PhD and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like
how do you
she's-
spell her?
Oh, sorry. How do you spell
Yeah.
it? Heather H-E-A.
Yeah, no, McCrae. How do you spell
Mac?
that? Mac?
Yeah.
Donald?
Yeah. Well, no, there's an A. There's an A. R-A-E.
Dude, my glasses are killing me. with this
McRae.
Yeah,
fucking-
McRae.
York. All right,
These
let's see
beats.
some images.
There you go. You found her.
Harkung McCrae, Heather.
Heather McRae.
Oh, she looks like a nice
Does she?
lady.
Does she have
Oh,
a-
dude, she's one of the best profs I've ever had. But anyway, she's conducting this course about European Union third and fourth level course, and Brexit, man, she's devastated by it, and I think that the situation right now is that they were holding votes basically to decide what to do next. A second referendum was vetoed, which I was upset about because I thought that, well, not I thought, but basically the polls indicate that if a second referendum was taken, Brexit would in fact be vetoed entirely. That, however, was vetoed in the House of Commons or wherever they host these votes. So I was upset about that. There was another vote this week that would determine whether or not Theresa May's, the leader of the UK, whether or not Theresa May's current Brexit deal would be passed. That was vetoed, which was the issue a few months ago, is that what she pitched wasn't good enough. So they couldn't pass that.
Let me ask you a quick question.
Yeah,
What is
please.
public opinion of her in the UK? Do people like her? People hate her? Do they want her in? They want her out? Like, what's the deal?
I think there's a divide right now because there's Brexiteers, Brexiters,
Yeah.
and people who are against. So I think that that's where the divide lies, and it's the young people don't like her, like generally, and it's the older people that have voted to pass Brexit. So I think that Brexit comes. Well, I don't think it's factual. Breakfast. Yeah.
Brexit.
Breakfast does
Brexit,
indeed. It comes before lunch.
That was good.
Now, in
Um,
the same way that a lot of like Canadians came out to vote when Trudeau was running because of the legal pot, because of that, is there like a similar sort of boom in young voters?
I don't know. What
For
the referendum was held in
England?
2016.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a
So-
fucking long time. 3 years ago? What the fuck?
3 years ago
years.
they
It's
did
nuts,
that.
man.
Yeah, and it was voted. Man, the vote was like 51% to 49%.
Yeah, I
So
remember it was
tight.
really fucking close.
Yeah, and what's bothersome about that is the fact that the majority of people who voted in favor of Brexit were older people.
Yeah.
That's like just terribly consequential because not for anything, but they're on their way out.
Exactly.
So what? They're gonna ride out the last 10 years of what they may see as some UK glory years, which won't exactly be so glorious because it's gonna come with a whole bunch of issues. A lot of the UK's laws and such are dictated and regulated by the European Union as a whole. So for something like maybe some sort of transport or logistics within the EU, those have all been regulated by the European Union. Now all of a sudden, Britain, the UK, is a country without trade embargoes and such in place or whatever, without logistics basically to the
Yeah.
rest of their continent, which they'd have to pass thousands and thousands and thousands of new bills to adjust to just Britain for stuff that's already regulated by the EU.
So would
Yeah,
they
it'd be
pretty
a-
much be reduced back to the Magna Carta days? Like fucking.
No, like they have stuff.
No,
in,
I know,
in
but like
play.
they'd have like none of the modern laws, right?
It would
like,
be a
when
long
was when was
process.
the European Union conceived?
73.
1973.
But they weren't. The UK was not an original country
Mm.
in the EU. There were 6 countries. I couldn't tell you all. of
Sorry,
them.
I was
Germany,
interrupting
France.
Joe.
No, I was just making a comment saying
were
that
you gonna say?
it would be a long process because
Yeah.
now having to it would take several years
Mhm.
because we're seeing how long it's taking just to pass the bill
Mm-hmm.
for Brexit as a whole.
Yeah,
Now we have to see all of these bills being passed
exactly.
for all of these existing laws,
that
and
just aren't written in UK legislation.
Exactly, they aren't written in UK legislation, and now it poses this threat that some of them could even get vetoed.
Yes, absolutely.
Right, so now it could create a whole new demographic.
Man, it would. The borders are a massive issue because as of right now, the EU has basically they're borderless kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can under the Dublin Act, I want to say, in the 90s. Basically, you're allowed to travel freely within the European Union across borders.
Mhm.
A big issue that comes with borders is Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland.
Which one of them isn't in the E EU?
Both of them are a part of the EU.
Oh.
However, Northern Ireland is the UK. So the
Really?
issue
Right.
there is that when there were a war, when there was the Civil War, I want to say it was in the 90s. I could be terribly misinformed on that, or just retarded. But when there was the Civil War in Ireland, one of the it was a religious war. Really,
Did that have to do
but,
with Bloody Sunday?
Yes, that's right.
What's
One
Bloody
of
Sunday?
the
Sorry.
one of
Let me Google it really
Sorry,
quick.
go.
yeah,
continue,
please
continue.
do. No, it's all right. But basically, one of the issues is that a solution to, or not a solution, but one of the things that was legislated is that Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, because they're
Mhm.
technically the same body of land,
Yeah.
would be border free, and there wouldn't be any existing border in between. It would basically just help the integration of Ireland. And now what would happen is technically Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland would have a new existing border because they would be two separate countries outside of the EU.
Oh.
You see? So there's tons of issues, especially again with trade, with laws, with
Mhm.
everything. I think that it'd be absolutely disastrous. It's an impossibility. It blows my mind that this is even
So
Yeah.
being considered.
for the Ireland, just for context for myself and
Mhm.
for anybody else wondering the same thing as me,
Yeah.
Quebec, they were trying to put the same thing in place, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there was
where it would
a
create a border.
there was a movement for independence.
Right.
For a long time, for
Mhm.
basically forever. That's kind of settled down now.
So would that be the same concept?
Yeah, it's a similar idea. They'd be their own country in essence, but they'd be a country without. Well, that's a little different because they'd probably just adopt all of the laws that Canada has, just
Yeah.
for the sake
Right.
of
This
is
staying.
a
But
whole-
for the sake of the borders argument.
There would be we would have to create borders with Quebec.
Wow.
I mean, we'd probably have a deal where there aren't borders and it's basically exactly the same as it is now.
Mhm.
But technically, if Canada or Quebec wanted to legislate borders there, they very well could. You know, that would be up to the discretion of the now or the then
Quebecois.
independent governments,
Quebec.
right? But yeah, just the logistics is a major issue I think with trade. Like
Mhm.
for example, as of right now, just to give you guys an idea as to what trade laws or trade laws I
Yeah,
guess
'cause I
look
wanna-
like
I wanna
within
know
the
this.
EU is that let's say Canada exports X amount of lumber to the EU,
Mhm.
but that lumber needs to go to Italy. Or say it lands in Italy, but then is ultimately transported then from Italy to Germany, hypothetically.
Yeah.
That number of lumber trade, it's not documented as a trade between Canada and Germany. It's documented as a trade between Canada and the EU.
Okay.
You see, so anything that lands in the EU now it's a part of the EU. It will still get to wherever it has to go.
But the
But
EU
it's
has to get there
considered-
first.
It's
That's
considered
exactly right.
EU's property.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
And obviously, like it'll still, like I said, it'll still go to where it needs to go. But the idea there is that they have such a huge impact on the trade, legislation and regulation, that it would be a disaster. You know, there are factories shutting down in England right now with Brexit like afoot, and yeah, it would just be a mess.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, why? What is their argument in favor of separating?
The migration crisis was a big push.
Yeah.
So what
I know
happened
that,
was
but,
yeah.
like, beyond that, is there any other
Yeah,
reason?
Absolutely, they think that well, not they as a whole, but a lot of Brits think that they're being basically ripped off by the EU with what they have to give annually, and they think they're supporting that they're putting so much towards the EU, but not getting the same return.
Mhm.
A lot of Brexiters, that's how
That's
they
their
would
common
feel. That would be
argument?
their argument. And you know, man, there's a lot of anti-EU propaganda that goes on. I actually had to write an essay last year on Euro lies or something like that was the name of this phenomena or this idea. And there was this one time where in England, fuck man, I can't remember exactly what I wrote this on, but it was pretty interesting because a lot of what happens, especially in Eurosceptic nations, is that a law will be passed or something will happen, and the UK will pass it off as, oh, look at what Europe did to us. Like
Mhm.
one of them was that there was this new legislation that was enacted by the European Union, and some propagandists, I guess, in the UK basically said, "Oh look, the European Union is now forcing all of our cattle to wear diapers," or "Oh look, the European Union has now banned firehouses from having fire poles." That was one of them, and none of it's factual, right? So a lot of what happens is there's a lot of this propaganda that pops up called Euro lies, I think, where they're intentionally forcing Euroscepticism on within the country.
Now, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So, Angela Merkel, did she step down, or is her term just over?
No, I don't think so. Not that I know of.
But okay,
I should probably know that.
Angela Merkel is one of the biggest proponents and supporters of the EU. Am I correct?
Yes, because
So-
and it's a lot of it has to do again with the
Yeah.
with the migration crisis.
And with the removal of her, could you see something similar happening with like Germany exiting?
No.
You don't think
Not
so?
right
You
now.
don't think like some populists will rise up? And
No.
You don't think so?
There. So if you had more to say, but I'm just like
Yeah, no, I'm
strict
just
on,
like because like as you said, one of the arguments for the Brits wanting to exit is that they felt that they were putting in too much of their
Yep.
resources and the rest of Europe wasn't pulling their weight. Well, Germany could argue the exact same thing because if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken, they are the biggest powerhouse in Europe right now, right?
They and France.
Are up there.
Yeah, they're basically the top two, which
Right.
is interesting because they're historically enemies.
Yeah.
But they
So couldn't they just theoretically turn
Yeah.
around and say the same thing?
sure,
Do you
but
see that happening?
I don't see it happening because it's depending on who you read, Germany is they're running the EU.
Mhm.
So why sacrifice that, right? Why step down and remove, or why remove yourself from such influence across
Mhm.
this massive union of 28 countries, right? So I don't think that's a possibility, or that's on the agenda
Yeah.
for Germany.
Man, Europe is such an interesting place because it's just conflict after conflict, man. Historically, like and with like the European Union as like a conglomerate of all these countries joining together with one currency, like the same set
For
of
the most
laws.
part.
Yeah, for the most part, one currency, the same set of laws, this, that, and the other. Like it would seem like that would bring them toward the direction of like the cessation of these conflicts.
Mm-hmm.
But it just doesn't seem to end. Do you think it's just because like they can't mix culturally?
Well, it's see the whole idea behind the European Union is that they would like for you to have a European identity, right? So I think that it's less of an issue. Well, there's definitely cultural boundaries within the EU, but a lot of it has to do with the idea that nations, especially those who are Eurosceptic, like majority or like more on the end of Euroscepticism as opposed to in favor of the European Union. I think that a lot of what happens is that they're concerned, or they feel as though they don't exactly have their independence. It's like the almighty question is, are countries a part of the European Union still sovereign,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think that that's there's definitely cultural boundaries, but there's also the concern of, are we even our own country, or are we the European Union? Is the European Union one massive body?
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of cultural identity, the European Union tries really hard to ensure that there's a European identity collectively. Like for example, on the euro bills, you'll often see monuments or
Right.
a bridge. Those are all fake. Those are all
Really?
made up because they didn't want to pick a monument, say, from Italy, or pick
Mhm.
a monument from Germany or
I thought
Spain.
that the way
whatever.
it worked was that they picked selected monuments from each individual country and put them on specifically marked euros. But
Mm-mm.
that was just.
I was under the same impression.
I
to be
didn't know they were
honest.
They're all
fake. That
fake.
was actually that's fucking weird, man.
Yeah, and it's just to make it's just to give that European identity as
Yeah.
opposed to that individual.
Well, like I guess they just take elements of each country's fucking architecture. or
Oh, for
whatever.
sure. It's definitely inspired.
But how would you guys feel if a similar sort of thing to the European Union were to happen here in North America? Do you think it would go smoothly? Do you think it would go rough?
It would be a mess.
Well, how so? What do you mean? Who
Like
would
us
be?
separating from
who
the
would be
United
separate?
States.
Yeah.
Is that what you're?
No, like I'm saying, like Canada, Mexico, and the States all join into one sort of North American union for argument's sake. Do you think that would go smoothly? Do you think that people would be in favor of that? Like, cause like, you know, NAFTA and shit like that, like especially in that, like they came to a new agreement, right?
Yeah.
So they came to a new agreement with that, but like I see people on Reddit like speculating shit like that this would happen here in North America.
I personally don't think it'll ever happen.
Yeah.
No,
right, like
I think it's going good. I honestly do.
you think it
like-
would be good
No, I think it's going good right
Currently,
now.
with that-
the way that we are.
The way that we are.
Yeah.
With,
So- Sorry.
with the USA being the powerhouse that they are already, I just feel like if we did become one union, we would still be considered America,
Yeah.
right?
They would definitely
I-
try to annex us.
They would
and
take it
that would be
over.
fuck- Would you guys join the Citizens Army of Canada and fight back against the Yankees?
Fuck no, man. Are you kidding me? They got 113% of their population as guns, man. Well, according to the number, man.
And
What
we've
the
got
fuck am I
what?
gonna do?
Knuckles
Get these
and beer
fucking
bottles.
arms, dude. Get these stands. We'll just fucking we'll make some cardboard guns and we'll fucking fight back, man.
Yeah.
Until fucking FPS Russia comes at you with a bazooka and a tank.
Yeah, no.
No, I'm
And you're
just
sitting there
busting
throwing a beer bottle,
Yeah.
But that
You're
shit,
Molson Canadian.
an empty can of Canadian.
I'm getting fucking hammered in the trenches, man. Fuck that.
that shit would never happen because man, like Republican Americans and racist Americans just would not have it for one damn second if they were in the same country as those darn Mexicans. Like they
No,
would
no, it'd be
not have
impossible.
that. And it's fucking shameful, man.
Well,
It's
there's
so
that, and the
horrible.
fact that Canada itself
And they
is
don't like-
very multicultural.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't like
and-
Canadians, a lot of Americans.
No,
a
'cause
lot
we-
of Americans
let
don't,
every-
and that's why they consider themselves this powerhouse that we don't need them anyways.
Yeah, and they would
So-
try and fucking dominate us.
They
like in
would.
the Fallout universe.
Yeah.
But-
well, and the argument is, well, there could be an argument that that's already happening, right?
Oh, it's been happening.
Yeah.
man.
A North American Union isn't necessary because it's predominantly dominated by the
Mhm.
U.S. and it would. That's
Mm.
what trade agreements are for
Yeah.
and stuff, right? Like
And
the
like,
European Union was predicated upon the idea of peace.
Mhm.
They didn't want
another world war.
yeah, no, that's all it was, right? So that's not exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
The conditions aren't the same here, so it would never be, or at least as of
Yeah.
right now,
Yeah.
isn't necessary.
Now, like, let's say, like, I'm just fucking spitballing here, but
Mhm.
let's say that there's a North American Union, a European Union, an Asian Union, an African Union, and a Latin American Union or South American Union.
Mm-hmm.
All these continents just group up together under one nation, and then shit just like they enact all these trade restrictions between other continent countries or whatever, you know? Like, could you imagine like what would happen? Like fuck, man, that'd be
Well,
crazy.
It'd
I've
be a
been
mess.
playing a lot of
You've been playing-
Civilization.
Yeah,
so
That's
Yeah.
why I got to thinking about it, man. It's
Yeah.
just like
Like colonies getting
could we
together.
revert back to that, you know, just like
No.
the
No, not with
no,
not with
definitely not.
not
but
with the
like,
warfare or the military we have available today.
Mhm.
It would be a mess. It would be an absolute mess, especially because now we're creating all of these individual groups. All it takes is one group to say we want that
Mhm.
territory too. Whether it's let's call ourselves the Americas now
Mm-hmm.
with
Mhm.
Canada, the USA, and Mexico. We are now the Americas. Trump is saying let's go and take Asia.
Trudeau saying
Let's
no.
take them. We want that land. Now all of a sudden we start a war over there. What's
Mhm.
stopping Africa from doing the same to the South Americas?
Well,
mhm.
the risk is here. I think that strategically, in accordance with the,
I haven't started my Civ journey
Yeah,
yet,
yeah.
so you might have a little better insight than me.
I think that what would it'd be impossible like for this hypothetical arrangement
Yeah,
because like
definitely.
if like for example if there were to be like that all out warfare where you know you're basically trying to colonize the entire world, U.S. obviously has the most power. Now Asia, if they all combined, now they have Japan, now they have North Korea, now
South
they
Korea.
have India, man.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
and India is a
most
population of
populous areas in the world.
Yep.
exactly all against these smaller Europe. I mean, Europe is advanced in terms of the technology, but like it's very interconnected. Like they could probably get wiped out. Africa's
Mhm.
weak right now, but Africa stands right next to stands right next to Asia. You know, so like what the fuck would happen there? Like you go in, like US goes into Africa, they start trying to fuck them up, and all of a sudden China's like taking advantage of the
Yeah.
Americans, and they're also murking the Americans. Like it's just
Yeah, man.
be too much, man.
Colonization was fucking crazy. Like, here was just this one white dude sitting in his ivory tower, for lack of a better word, and he was just like, yeah, let's just go sail across the ocean, fucking rape and pillage and take their land and resources.
Well-
like, that was fucked, man. Like, world domination was actually their goal.
but think about it, man. Like for like Europe were obviously the colonizers.
Mm-hmm.
They were so far advanced in terms of technology, and they were going up against, like, say, South America. They had no technological
Mhm.
development, right, when colonization began. So the idea is that it was a completely different world dynamic. It was they
Yeah.
were
Mhm.
taking with force that, but they were obviously, if you were to run that simulation, say 1,000 times, Europe would come out on top 1,000 times over, because what the
Yeah.
hell are they going up against, right?
Yeah, they just
So-
had power, man. That's and and
Exactly.
they used it and they exploited.
So now today,
Like,
technology is more further spread. Population's different. It's something colonization. I don't think could happen any longer, in especially for major countries, because there's so many.
Mhm.
Basically, what this guy Fukuyama argued is that we've reached what he referred to in the 90s as the end of history. So, liberalism, the idea that that nations, like, there's like a capitalist democracy that basically rules the world, right? Majority of nations should abide by that, and there's no reason for war any longer because there's peace everywhere, right? And end of history basically argues that it's only going to advance further and further and further. There will only be the further spread of democracy and the further spread of technology or whatever it is to every country. So there's just this massive basically globalization, right? And in its best possible form. That's what end of history basically is, right? Is that the end of history because there won't be any more war, right? It's just, that's it.
so
man.
is history basically just war? Is that what he's like? Not really.
Yeah.
Not really the basis of this academic paper. I'm assuming
Mhm.
that's what it was.
Well, he wrote a few things, but yeah.
Mm.
But no, definitely that could be what he was, but where he was getting that from. History is a series of wars that have brought falls to people,
Mhm.
right? And that's definitely probably why it's called the end of history, because that war is no longer necessary according to his analysis.
Right.
Sometime in the 90s and before that, of course. But I mean, have we reached that? I don't really think so, man. I mean, especially now with well, I don't know. There's different ideologies
yeah, man,
that are.
there's
on
so much
rise.
going on. I don't think I agree with that. There's so much going on. Like, history could be written. It doesn't have to be written with conflict and
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
in the words. You know.
Well, I think that back then there were American missions to spread democracy and stuff, right? And
Yeah.
all around the world. So I think that it was different then. Plus, the Cold War had just ended, right? So that
Yeah.
was probably a big indicator as
When
to.
was this written? You said in the 90s?
Well, he wrote in the 90s and before that, and
Mhm.
I think that I want to say that he wrote up until recently, maybe even today.
Yeah.
I'm really not sure.
This sounds a lot like to me. Like, it's not really like synonymous, but this sounds a lot to me like postmodernism as a literary movement. It's like there's no
Mhm.
longer an author, you know? Like, it's just the reader. Like, in this case, the reader would be the global democratic capitalist system.
Right, but
Just
what's being
dominate.
written?
Nothing, man. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I'm not too. Postmodernism is fucking confusing to me, to be honest. It's pretty stupid.
Postmodernism, I think, modernism in a political sense. I think
Is there a postmodern political
yeah
framework?
no definitely but honestly, man, I wouldn't have read much on it since second year.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that basically the idea is that it's moving towards that. But it's basically moving at the push towards liberalism or neoliberalism, whatever you
Mhm.
want to call what we're living under today. Which, I mean, there's always the argument that we're not living under like realism or living within realism. But I think that's basically what happened. Across philosophy, the arts, architecture, and criticism that marked the departure from modernism. This term has also more been generally applied to historical era following modernity and the tendencies of this era. So,
Yeah.
I don't know, that didn't really tell us much. But,
No. Yeah, I gotta write a paper on it right now. So
oh, yeah?
yeah, I gotta do some research.
Get
but I'm
some
a little
fact checking to be
Yeah, I'm
to
too
do.
fucking lazy, man.
Oh, that reminds me.
Laziness.
We made some pleas
Some please.
a few weeks ago on our podcast.
My mom actually asked about these, and she was pissed off that we didn't talk about them last week.
So it's been 2 weeks, if not 3.
It might be 3.
It might be 3.
Yeah.
Shows our procrastination.
Oh shit! I forgot
Anyways.
all about it.
Okay, well we know where Jules is at.
Oh fuck the shit that we.
Yeah, we agreed
Promised.
on the.
Where are you
to
guys?
Stop being lazy.
Where are you guys at with your
Oh,
with your
fuck.
pleas? We'll start at the end of the table, work our way around. We'll start with Juice.
Oh, of course, me.
Okay, you want me to
After I
start with
just said I'm
Peter?
too-
Oh,
no,
dear.
I'll start with me. I'll start with me. Actually, last night I went for a run, which is yeah.
Wow.
Hey,
I
John,
don't think I've ever
at
seen you do that in my life.
Yeah,
I've known
I
you.
went for
I've
a
known you
run.
22 years.
I went for a run and I finished an assignment, so I felt pretty productive. And yeah, I went to school today. So you know what? I'm
Check mark.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I feel pretty good after the last 2 days. I was in a pretty bad rut actually in the last few weeks. So today, I think I'm really turning it around. I've failed definitely within the last 2 weeks because I forgot all about it. But
Mhm.
I'm turning it around. We're making movements. We're making movements.
Lou.
Well, you know what, man? I think that when it comes to school, I mean, I've been trying. I submitted an assignment, got like an 83 on it. It was worth 30% of the grade,
Yeah.
and it's because I actually put some good work and effort towards it. But I mean, aside from that, as a whole, I mean,
Civilization went on sale.
I'm like 15 hours deep into Civilization in 4 days. So I mean, Jesus
Man, guys, I had to.
That's why I didn't pledge laziness.
no kidding.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say something really quick right now. It's really unrelated, but today we were peer editing for we were editing our theses for our final research papers in our class, and this one guy's fucking writing was so atrocious. I couldn't understand it, man. And I asked the guy. I said, "Hey, is English your first language?"
No,
Dude, I genuinely, man, it did not seem like he spoke fucking English because he had an accent, for one.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, his sentences were incomprehensible. Maybe that's insensitive of me, but man, I don't know. And I recommended, I was like, listen, just get Grammarly and you'll get good.
And
But,
you'll
get
Grammarly. Explain
Dude,
that to me.
I've never heard of this, and
You never heard of Grammarly?
I'm intrigued.
What that?
It's basically a
I mean, I don't have
browser
that.
extension. If you work at Grammarly and you're listening, feel free to sponsor because I've already I've got you one customer right now. I'm gonna get you another 3 right here. So Grammarly is basically a browser extension that you can install into Chrome, and it's like spell check but fucking way better. It helps with sentence structure, capitalization, punctualization, anything you want, man. If you want to proofread your papers because you feel like you want to take an extra step, copy and paste each individual paragraph and go make corrections. It'll tell you about passive voice, active voice.
That's fucking amazing.
Do you have to
everything
pay for
want.
it?
No, you could use it for free, but there is a premium one that unlocks more features. But like if you do this copy and pasting individual paragraph method, it'll help reduce the amount of premium errors that are blocked by a paywall. Because if you copy and paste if you copy and paste your whole paper, it'll say, oh, you got 15 errors or whatever that you can unlock with premium. But if you do it paragraph by paragraph, it'll say like 1 or none even. It's pretty greasy. But beyond the grease, I like grease. I just had Five Guys burgers, so Grammarly, if you want to sponsor us, yeah, hit that DM. But yeah, I felt really bad about saying to this guy, asking him if his English was his first language, because dude, man, the writing was so
What was his answer?
unreadable. Yes, English is my first language.
Fuck. Dude, I got
Dude,
a
how the
similar
fuck
story.
how did you respond to that? It's
I was
just,
like-
yes, English is my first language.
You're
You
just
say,
like,
well,
"Fuck."
well, your paper's
I was like-
garbage.
Yeah.
Or, well, you should
Oh.
install this browser.
Yeah, that's what I
extension."
said. That's why I was like, oh well, man. Like I use it myself, so I was like, yeah, man. You know, I make
Helps.
mistakes, but not that many fucking mistakes.
Yeah.
But yeah, use Grammarly, basically.
I'm looking.
Have a similar story from work a while back, a few years ago, where this person had asked someone else, another one of my coworkers, if they should do this job, and if they should do this job, and the person who they were asking basically just replied and was like, "Yeah, I don't think X person trusts you," and I'm right there, dude. I had to walk away, man. He just shit on this person,
Holy fuck.
and I lost it, man. It was too good. But it's like
Oh
a
my
similar
God.
thing. It's like,
Yeah.
is English your first language? I don't think they trust you. I'm like, oh fuck, man. Like, but it was just the truth, you know.
Yeah.
So
But Peter, tell us about your please.
Honestly,
your
guys,
progress.
I'm gonna be honest. I forget what the fuck I said.
You said you were going to wake up earlier.
Okay, yes. So I have been waking up earlier than I have been, and I've been going to the gym earlier, which is like around 9:30, 8 o'clock. It's not bad.
So we've got one plea deal done.
More 9:30.
Hey man, I went for a run yesterday. I did it.
All right, Jules is
1.5.
1/4 of the way
Yeah.
there.
But I
I'm
want
going
to
for another run when you guys leave.
I want to add something to mine.
Maybe.
He's not going
that
for a-
persive.
It's midnight.
No man, I went last night at fucking 10:30,
You're fucked.
and then I sat in bed for like 4 hours trying to fall asleep because I didn't have Netflix running.
You were pumped with adrenaline. That's the thing.
That's
you
the
gotta go for
problem.
those runs early in the morning.
Yeah, that is true.
That'll get you going. Maybe cut down on some of the 6 to 12 coffees you have a day,
Yeah, that's true.
and
I think we heard that.
you'll be good
You
to
heard
go.
that?
I think so.
Yeah, I think I heard it too.
That's okay.
But yeah, Peter, good for you, dude.
I do want to add something though. I want to start reading more. I don't, dude. Yeah, I
You
don't.
want some? You want some books? You want some books?
I
have
actually-
some books in my bookshelf. You
I
want
actually wouldn't mind some.
one? Okay. What do you like?
I don't, dude. See, that's the thing.
What do you
don't-
like?
I,
Words.
I don't
You
know.
should,
I don't know what I like yet. Like I don't
Okay.
know what interests me.
Don't worry, I got you covered. We'll go
Okay.
upstairs. We'll take some ganders.
Oh.
You should read
You can
Post
go-
Office because he worked at the Post for a little
No,
while.
no. See, I don't even want to see anything with post office.
If you go on,
No. It's just a bunch of debauchery, dude. It's
Yeah,
actually
it
really
is.
funny.
Is it?
Yeah, it's really
if
good.
you go on Jules's computer in his room,
Yeah.
you can type in like the genre and stuff. It'll tell you what's on the shelves.
So
No, I don't have a library.
Jules'
man.
library?
Not yet. I was thinking actually for Tumf B, I'd bring my bookshelf down here.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
That would
it'd
be
look
cool.
fucking
Little
I
cool
got some little
aesthetic.
trinkets and shit.
Maybe once we throw some drywall in there to kind of tie the room together, we
Yeah.
throw some actual furniture
but
in
nah, but I like that bookshelf in my room. So fuck you guys.
there. It's okay. We'll go to IKEA.
We'll get another one.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Shout
not.
out
I'm not.
IKEA.
I'm not working out. I'm not working on an IKEA piece.
Mhm.
Those
No,
things
no,
take
no, no.
fucking years.
No, man.
Some of them do. Some of them do.
Got them little plastic screws and shit. We can work it out.
Yeah.
Think about all the shit we've done down here, man, with
Yeah.
our makeshift
You
bullshit.
gotta look at the boxes that say easy assembly. You just gotta pick those ones off the shelves.
Yeah.
As soon as you pick intermediate or hard assembly, you're
Does that exist? They do that at IKEA?
honest to God, I have no idea. I'm bullshitting. But I'm really hoping they do.
I was gonna
because
say that's pretty cool if they did that.
I'm
if they don't, there's a quick little business idea for you guys. You guys
Yeah.
sell a lot of beginner stuff off your shelves.
No kidding.
If you
It'd be
start
quick and
labeling
easy.
them, and the hard ones,
Yeah.
you'll be getting a hell of a lot more money for building those things because you can pay them to
Oh yeah.
pay them to build them. So
Yeah.
people will just see the hard and be like, you know what, you guys build this for me and come drop it off.
You can like tier the prices.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah, they add more
That's a good
if
idea.
they get
Quick little
someone to
business
build.
model for you
Yeah.
guys, IKEA.
Sponsor us, man.
Really
Fuck.
good.
Listen, we're fishing for anybody at this point.
I'm gonna
It'll
call
come,
up,
man.
I'm gonna
It'll
call up
come.
the beer store, see what they got to say to me.
Man, it'll come. We already spoke about Moleskin, so we gotta approach them. And if
Yeah.
they don't answer, we're just gonna keep hammering.
Like in Shawshank, man, he sends a letter a week to
Yeah,
the,
we'll
to
fucking
the
do
state.
that shit, man. We'll do that. We'll do
Yeah.
Grammarly because I use it, and you guys are gonna start using it.
I am actually.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
genuinely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm
I
not
really
writing
will
any
look into
papers
that.
anymore, but
No, I'm
Sure.
just gonna
hey,
have
man,
it.
it helps for emails too.
yeah.
Yeah,
you know?
dude.
Yeah, okay.
'Cause I suck at emails.
Yeah. But Peter, you want to read? I love
I do.
that.
I do.
I love that. So
I
we'll go
never
get
used
you
to
some
read,
books.
dude. I was never the kid that when I was younger.
That's
never,
alright,
never
man.
used to read
That's
unless I
alright.
was forced to.
Finding
Like the Outsiders and shit like that.
finding what you'd like to read, I think, is like the most difficult thing.
It is.
It
Because,
is, 'cause
um,
even when I tried to get into reading, it's difficult because I've been through the. It's not to cut you off, sorry. by
No,
the
no, no.
way.
I have nothing to.
Um,
yeah.
I had I had a little, I don't know, like a craving to read
Mm-hmm.
when I was, I think it was 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Was it 2
Yeah, I
years ago?
remember.
Yeah,
remember
we were
that.
at
we were all at chapters.
yeah, we were at chapters, and I was kind of like inspired by you guys. You guys were reading and stuff like that. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pick up a book. I'm gonna do some reading. I made it through maybe like 6 chapters. Got bored.
Mhm,
The
mhm.
book,
Not for
the
anything,
book,
Joe.
yeah, the book wasn't for me.
Not for anything, but that book. That was the book you walk into the store. It's on the first table.
Mm.
It was also one of those like
Best author.
I did it again recently,
like
though.
those crime not
Mhm.
like like they always have like those true crime novels. Not even true crime. It's like those
Tom Clancy shit.
yeah shit like that.
Yeah,
It's and
Dan
they
Brown.
like mass produce them like fucking yeah. So like
yeah,
that's
there's no literariness to that.
no exactly.
For both you guys, man, you guys want recommendations?
They're like soap
I
operas.
can get you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. For me, like when I say to people that want to start reading, start with short stories.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because,
definitely.
It's definitely a little bit hard to digest a whole novel, especially when like you're first trying to start reading for pleasure.
Yeah.
Because the more you read, the faster you read, and the easier it is for you to pick things up. You know, so your brain is a muscle, and your reading brain is a muscle.
Yeah.
The more you exercise it, the more easier it is to exercise, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, start with short stories. There's lots of good Edgar Allan Poe ones. There's ones Young Goodman Brown, that's a good one. A Good Man is Hard to Find, that's a good one.
I have a
The Rocking Horse Winter, The Garden Party, I could go on forever, man. But
I would like to read these now.
I have a recommendation. Now like it's a little specific, so it's like it's tough, but
Okay.
Jules, I want to say that maybe you, or maybe I approached you with Hemingway, but you to me Bukowski. Either way, it doesn't really fucking matter. But really short story, about 86 pages long, in like a small little book. It's called The Old Man and the Sea.
Okay.
The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway.
Mhm.
I find that his stuff is like it's pretty easy to read. What's it called? He has like a specific writing style that prose. He writes in prose. Is that it?
well, yeah, prose is just like it's just not poetry, basically.
So he's basically just like a lot of his
Everyone
writing is
writes
just
prose.
it's just the way that you would talk
Okay.
almost.
Just
It's
like
old.
a,
It's
like
like
a
it's
normal
from the
conversation.
It's
you
like
have
in
with
vernacular.
Yeah.
That's the word for it. It's vernacular. It's just
see.
like Dante
Mhm.
in the Inferno. Like that's what he in his literary criticism from back in the 1400s and shit. He was advocating for writers to write in the vernacular so that the common people could understand what you're trying to say. Because back then, people wrote in Latin,
Mm-hmm.
and
That's fucked up.
yeah, it is fucked up
Yeah.
because only like a sliver of the population could understand Latin. So yeah, that was really influential. But Hemingway is very accessible, very accessible. So is Bukowski.
Mm-hmm.
There's a really good one. It's called On the Road by Jack Kerouac.
Okay.
He was a Beat, and it's about some drifters in the 1950s. Lots of drugs, lots of
I like that.
lots of dope,
Sounds-
lots of sex. You know, it's
interesting.
it's definitely an interesting read, and I think you guys should read it if you want recommendations.
Yeah, I say we
Please
I say
ask.
we hit up chapters soon.
You should another recommendation is like you've seen Shawshank Redemption. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
You ever seen Stand by Me?
No.
Okay. Anyway, it's Stephen King, and everyone knows Stephen King.
Oh yeah.
He created a book called Different Seasons. It's 4 short stories.
Okay.
Really short, really quick for each of them, and all of them are like one of them turned into be the movie Stand by Me. Another was Shawshank, and another one was called Apt Pupil, but it was a shit movie. And then I can't remember the name of the 4th story, but I know I read it. Different
Yeah.
Seasons. Yeah, the book maybe looks a little big, but it's 4 stories inside of it.
Okay.
Really easy to read, I thought.
Yeah,
And,
Stephen King too. He's really easy to read, but
Yeah.
the thing is that his novels are like 600 pages long,
yeah, like,
which
it is
that's
massive.
daunting for someone trying to get
Mhm.
into reading.
Yeah.
But Joe, how about you? How have your pleas been going?
Okay, so I have not completed mine, but I did get a job in my field.
You
Mhm.
did.
Yes, sir.
That is a huge accomplishment.
Pretty big one at that. So I think I'm taking a step in the right direction. Also, I've been doing a little more research into going back to school.
Mm-hmm.
Found out that they're opening up a new school
In Markham.
close close to home. So
Mhm.
that's definitely
Wait, the York campus in Markham?
no. They're
no?
opening another
Another university?
Niagara.
Niagara.
I don't even know.
I don't know, man. But how close? Like where?
I don't know. My mom was saying really close. But anyways, I've been doing some research. They're opening up pretty close to me, so that's pretty big. I think it's Niagara College.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they're offering exactly what I want to take.
Nice. That's good, man.
So I think that's definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Um,
Plus, getting the job is massive too. Like that's,
Yeah.
you know.
So I'm pretty happy and content with that. I wouldn't say I've completely completed the goal I've set for myself. It's only a matter of time, but
Yeah.
again, well,
I think we've all been succeeding, especially here.
Yeah,
in
we're all
Tough
taking-
B.
yeah.
You know, just doing this weekly, putting in the work, posting them Instagram photos.
Mm-hmm.
You know, getting ourselves out there. I think we're doing a pretty good job right now,
Yeah.
and it's only
Absolutely.
upward from here.
Yeah, and today we, like I said before, put in some good fucking work.
Oh, yeah,
and
man.
It took us like probably a couple hours, but 2 hours maybe to get it all down. And it's definitely not perfected, but hell, we can
Mhm.
worry about that another time.
Mm-hmm.
It's tight though. It's tight. Like it's not sloppy. It's not shit.
Mhm.
It's just it could be better. But like anything, it could always get better.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's gonna bring this episode to a close then, unless anyone else wants to make any more remarks before we head on out.
I have no closing remarks. Actually, I do.
Ooh.
My dad.
Oh, Victor.
My dad. He was like, hey, be careful about posting pictures with the flag hanging up back there.
The
I'm like,
Dominican.
Yeah, I'm like, why? And he's like, I don't want anyone to conflate your podcast with nationalism.
Oh my God.
I'm like, Dad, there's no nationalism involved, man. Like, it's just a flag hanging, you know? We just, and that's the only flag in the house, I should add. There's definitely no Dominican nationalism going on in this podcast or in this household, for that matter. And, yes, so for anyone wondering if that's some Dominican propaganda, which no one is, I'm sure. A lot of people don't know where that is, if that's even a real place or whatever. Yes, so that is the disclaimer. There is no nationalism. We just got a little pride for the tiny little island. That's all.
Shout out to Victor for looking up.
Yeah.
Because that's
Washing our
yeah,
backs.
yeah,
Number one dog.
That's for sure.
But yeah, again, guys, thank you again for tuning in. We are very happy with the feedback we've been getting, and we're hoping that it's only up from here. You can check us out on our website. Same website as always, theunfinishedbasementpodcast.squarespace.com.
Yes, sir.
And our Instagram as well. We post very actively every 2, if not 3 days, whether it's little clips before our episodes begin, little clips of the episode that we've posted, some behind-the-scenes stuff. That's at the Unfinished Basement Podcast. Twitter, I'm going to disregard. We don't really use that too
Yeah.
much.
But we are on Stitcher now.
We are on
so
Stitcher now.
we are on
I did
Stitcher.
not. I did
That
not
is
know
the
this.
second most popular podcasting platform aside from iTunes podcasts. So we are now on Stitcher. You can find us there. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify,
Mhm.
YouTube,
All this shit.
Mhm.
and follow us on Instagram because that is where we are most active.
Yep.
And if you want to converse with us, you can send us a quick DM, get it down into DM. And,
Slide into those
Yeah,
DMs.
slide in by all means.
Not like
We're,
Romeo, though.
We're
No,
tired.
definitely not like Romeo.
We're tired of getting the hi hun, how are you with the heart
Oh
next
yeah.
to some
Next
from
to some like
from some random
Harley XX.
definitely-
yeah,
Man,
yeah,
36906.
Yeah,
Man,
you
you
open up
never
the
know.
account, it's just straight nudes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be like, block, please.
Yeah, DM for sex with hot women. No, just send us
Yeah.
just send us real feedback,
Yeah,
please.
just tell us if you like this podcast.
No, just
What do
help
you
us with a topic, please.
Oh yeah, fuck.
Yeah, anything you
shit
guys
to
want
talk
us to
about.
discuss, by all
Mhm.
means, let us know. DM us, comment on our pictures, anything on our YouTube, on our website as well, under the blog section where you can listen to the episodes. There's a little comment section over there.
Mhm.
Give us your thoughts, anything you'd like to see changed. We would look at everything. We see all of the feedback that we get, and we take it all to heart. So, again, thank you all for tuning in to our 8th episode, which marks 2 months of us doing this
Yes, 2
podcast
months.
already.
Wait, not exactly 2 months, but
No,
we're
we're about a week
approaching.
behind.
Theoretically,
Yeah.
theoretically,
We're
2 months.
Close to that 10.
We will see you all again next week. Thank you all for your support.
Comfy, baby.
Later.
Baby. Have a good night.